Weekend only. Linwood Event Center. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Linwood Event Center. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Linwood Event Center. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Linwood Event Center. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandswimspasale.com.
Active Liver is the easy way to get a daily detox to keep you healthy and feeling your best. Find Active Liver at your local CVS or online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
You're not at your house. You're at a lavish seaside estate. You're not walking the dog. You're hunting for clues in an Agatha Christie mystery. See it differently with BritBox. Stream an endlessly entertaining collection of British TV, including new original series, Ludwig, starring David Mitchell.
Bit awkward, really. I think I might just have solved a murder.
And Outrageous, a scandalous true story.
Seems there's a political extremist in every family these days.
See it differently when you stream the best of British TV with BritBox.
Some things can steal your sunshine.
Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
KIRO FM and HD1 Tacoma, Seattle. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by ZipRecruiter.
I'm Cammie McCormick. The death toll in Texas is at 109 now from the devastating floods, and there are more demands for answers. Chris Fox reports.
More questions about when local leaders were made aware of the flooding on Friday and what they did. Sheriff Larry Letha.
And we're in the process of trying to put a timeline. That's going to take a little bit of time. As I've told you several times, that is not my priority this time.
With County Judge Rob Kelly not in attendance, Game Warden Ben Baker was asked about the failure to call evacuations.
You have many questions. The judge is not here. We understand that, but right now, this team up here is focused on bringing people home.
Chris Fox for CBS News, Kerrville, Texas.
It's been 4 days since anyone was found alive, but rescuers like volunteer Louis Depp keep going.
We're tired, but running off adrenaline, and it's for a good cause, and trying to find people and bring some closure to those who may not be alive anymore. And so that's kind of where we're at in the search.
President Trump is defending his latest move on tariffs. Linda Kenyon reports from the White House.
President Trump has sent letters to the leaders of several nations saying his 90-day pause on tariffs is ending, and soon countries will have to pay up.
We don't change very much. Every time we put out a statement, they say he made a change. I didn't make a change. A clarification, maybe. No, August 1st they pay.
Speaking at a cabinet meeting, the president said pharmaceutical companies also will have to pay.
They're going to be tariffed at a very, very high rate, like 200%.
But first, he says they'll be given about a year or a year and a half before those tariffs kick in. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
Trump lashed out at Russian President Vladimir Putin.
We get a lot of thrown at us by Putin, for you want to know the truth. He's very nice all the time, but it turns out to be meaningless.
Yesterday, the U.S. resumed military assistance to Ukraine. Someone's been posing as Secretary of State Marco Rubio, as Michael Wallace reports.
We are at the beginning of an era, and we are poised to recover American greatness.
That was the real Marco Rubio in his July 4th message. An imposter has been using AI to impersonate Rubio's voice and writing style. Last month, the person called or texted 3 foreign ministers, a member of Congress, and a U.S. governor through the Signal messaging app. Investigators believe the imposter was trying to gain access to other accounts. The State Department has sent a cable to all diplomatic and consular posts warning staff about the fake Rubio. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
On Wall Street today, stocks are mixed as investors wait for more clarity on the latest tariffs. The Dow Jones Industrials are currently down 138 points. This is CBS News.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Your DoorDash delivery is going to cost you more. Details coming up, but first from the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk. No real major blocking problems right now. You are slow in the typical spots like I-5 through Seattle and I-405 through Renton, but you are particularly slow on I-5 southbound near JBLM. Travel times Tacoma to Olympia, 43 minutes now. That's about 5 minutes longer than typical. Other travel times, pretty much what we'd expect this time of day or better. Everett to Seattle will take you about half an hour. Federal Way to Seattle, 25 minutes. Renton to Bellevue, 21. Traffic brought to you by Fred Meyer Pharmacy, which welcomes Express Scripts, Medicare D, and TRICARE Department of Defense Plan members. You can transfer prescriptions at fredmeyer.com/payer update.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Heather Bosch. A troubling trend in King County of thieves breaking into cars to steal guns.
King County prosecutors say not only are gun thefts increasing, but so are the violent crimes committed with those stolen weapons. Spokesperson Casey McNerthney.
And we see that a lot. Shootings, assaults, even some murder cases where guns are taken out of car prowls.
Prosecutors say cars and trucks targeted often display stickers supporting the Second Amendment. Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
An 18-year-old woman is in critical condition after being hit by a car during a street takeover in Auburn July 4th. Officer Colby Crossley tells KIRO 7 TV.
We know that there were a lot of people there, and there's a lot of people who probably have video, probably know exactly who it was and what happened, saw everything as it unfolded.
Police are urging witnesses to come forward as officers comb through surveillance video. We're learning more about a Port Orchard house fire that killed a father and daughter. KIRO 7 TV's Madeline Ottley reports.
It was around 1:30 a.m. Saturday, and Dave and Michelle were standing face-to-face with their next-door neighbors.
She said, hey, our house is on fire.
The windows popping out, the flames bursting inside.
It was almost entirely engulfed.
Investigators say 6 people were inside. 2 of them couldn't make it out alive. 40-year-old Carlin Sheedy and his 9-year-old daughter, Jaden. Fire marshals believe the fire started in the basement, creating pressure on the front door, making it difficult to open.
No cause for that fire yet. DoorDash says it's raising prices for Seattle customers again. The company's blaming city regulations that it says require drivers to be paid up to $30 an hour. The company claims the rules have made Seattle the costliest city for delivery in the country, leading to fewer orders and longer waits. City leaders argue the regulations ensure gig workers are treated fairly. A warning from Washington State University: don't bother the bears.
Apparently, some of the people visiting the WSU Bear Center have been trying to poke those research animals with sticks and branches. Wazoo police say that's not only harmful, it's illegal. If you hurt a research animal, you've committed a Class C felony, which can get you up to 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. Police also warn that there are security cameras monitoring the area, so people who poke the bears will be reported. Frank Lindsay, KIRO News Radio.
This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Sunny skies today with highs in the mid-80s. It's 77 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News. It's the all-new Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio.
Welcome to the show, everybody. It's Tuesday edition of the Jake and Spike Show. I'm Spike O'Neill along with Greg Tomlins in this week. Jake's trying to climb Honeydew Mountain. It's a big task he's taking on this week. Heather Bosch, you had a story in the last newscast.
Yes.
If I heard it correctly, Wazoo students are poking bears with sticks.
Maybe students, maybe not.
Maybe not. Okay, well, I'm assuming if you're doing something ridiculous, you're probably registered at Wazoo. I don't mean to be pejorative.
Well, I'm a Husky, so
I'm right there with you. And so so there. What is? And I didn't catch a solution there. What is the research center trying to do to make sure this doesn't continue?
Well, they do have surveillance cameras and security in the area, so they're basically telling people, "Look, we're going to catch you."
I got a better idea. I got an instant solution.
Let the bears out?
Unlock the cages. I mean, well, hey, nature. You know, hey, hi, Darwin. Nice to meet you. Poke the bear.
Can't say I agree with that 100%. But
whose computer is that? Everybody.
Not me. I promise.
Me.
Well, I'm not allowed to use electronics.
Let's
so I know.
blame Luke.
Reaching 107.
You?
That was mine.
It's the deuce.
Deuce is loose. Heather, I appreciate your responsible journalistic take on this.
Yes.
Just let the bears
don't let
equal
the bears
footing.
out, but you will get caught, so don't poke the poor
bears.
Don't poke the bears.
Don't
It's
poke
as
the
old
bears.
as Adam and Eve.
And what's the rule with bears? If it's brown, flush it down. If it's that's
bears, that's trout.
That's duty.
Whatever.
No,
Boy,
there's
this
a
show has
difference in
digressed
how
so
you're
quickly.
supposed, real quickly, how you respond to bears, because Greg has a good point, because brown bears, you're supposed to react one way, black bears, you're supposed to react. And I'm not going to check the bear color. I'm just going to leave the bear.
I go by
leave
weight.
the bear alone.
Even if it weighs anything, I leave it alone.
There you go.
Doesn't have to be bigger than me.
And fun fact, if you're out hiking, carry a bell, make some noise, because that bear doesn't want to encounter you any more than you want to encounter them.
That's true, and you can tell the type of bear by how many bells are in its scat. So yeah, good luck with it. Thank you, Heather.
I already interrupted the show.
You're fine.
Can I just say something?
Sure,
because
Lucy.
when it comes to WSU and UW, I mean, come on, you all have something in common.
We do,
and that's that you.
We
all,
hate the Bears,
Cal
Bears.
That's that you all applied to UW.
The University of Washington.
Not nice.
I can't.
Oh, a friend of mine told me
Apple
that
Cup's
over
a
the weekend.
September
Sorry.
game now. By the way, welcome everybody. Apple Cup is a September game now, right?
No, not the real app. Not the real Apple Cup.
It's scheduled for September.
Yes, I believe so.
To maintain the rivalry since the Wazoo Cougars are still in the Pac-12.
Yeah, what's left of it.
Well, they've up to 9-10 teams now, I think.
Yeah, that's true. They're adding teams. Yeah. But you see, the Apple Cup is supposed to be the spoiler.
Oh yes,
right?
it's the end of year. It's the grand.
Yes,
it's when you play your rival.
So I can't call it the Apple Cup anymore.
And the Big Ten has made Oregon our rival. Mm-hmm. They've made it our regional rival, much like the Ohio State-Michigan game is the season finale. The Washington-Oregon game.
Yeah.
Which a lot of Husky fans, they don't mind that.
No, not so much. But also those Oregon Ducks applied to go to school at the UW.
Oh.
We're just going to keep this going.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Let the hate texts commence.
Yeah, babe. All you Cougar fans out there, we love you.
Yes.
We do. We respect you. Mm-hmm. And we wish you nothing but. And I think they got done dirty by the Big Ten. Leaving OSU and WSU behind was incredibly hard.
But don't take it out on the Bears.
No, the Cal Bears. Okay. Where are they at now? They're in the Big East, right? Yeah, the Cal or the ACC or something.
No, I'm talking about the actual.
I know you're talking about the one. Okay. And I'm still for unlocking the cages. Because only have to teach that lesson once, and no one will poke a bear with a stick anymore.
True.
Sometimes you got to break a few fingers to make a cake. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the show. As we mentioned, Jake Skorheim is on vacation this week. Greg Tomlin's filling in. And we're going to open the show today with some local news that Heather also covered in her news update. And Luke Ducey's been on this story. We're going to talk about the element of street racing and the ongoing problem of street racing in our town and an incident that happened on the 4th of July down by Lake Tapps that resulted in a critical injury. Am I right?
That's right. An 18-year-old woman is clinging to life really right now in critical condition at Harborview Medical Center. This incident happened on the 4th of July at night at the intersection of Lake Tapps Parkway and Lakeland Hills Way, if you know where that is. Police say there was a car that was doing donuts in this large crowd around there. Oftentimes they announce these things are going to happen kind of underground, so people show up, and then someone's live streaming it, which was no doubt happening there at the time. There's a video of the whole thing that surfaced. And on that video, what you can see is this driver doing donuts, and then the police arrive. The driver takes off, hauls down this road, and hits this young woman, this teenager who was crossing the street at the time. But I want you to listen to the witnesses who videotaped that whole thing.
Holy did you see that? That girl's dead. God. No, that girl's dead.
Holy dude, I cannot believe we just witnessed something like that.
No, that girl's dead.
Yeah, fortunately, she did not die, but she was rushed to Harborview again in critical condition. Police spokesperson Colby Crossley says they are still looking for a suspect, but this is something that is growing in popularity. I know I hear it out my window every now and then, and around midnight, there's someone at some intersection. For the people who do this, it's kind of like graffiti. This is like tagging their territory. Then
with the car, with the burnouts?
And then they like to go back and say, hey, I did that, and I got away with it. But, in this case, now we're talking about a teenager who is in critical condition.
Yeah, Luke, this was sadly inevitable in my view. I've probably seen a half dozen of these videos of these street takeovers being done all around Seattle and surrounding areas. They make their way onto social media, and it's wild to see, 1 car, 2 car, 3 cars doing donuts, people hanging out windows, and large crowds usually surrounding these things. And the whole time I'm thinking, well, this is only a matter of time before someone gets seriously injured or even killed. Why is it so hard to stop these things? And as far as the long arm of the law, have these people been prosecuted to any extent? I was trying to find some research or information on this because it seems highly dangerous, illegal, and like you said, it's being talked about and advertised and promoted, and it seemed like it would be easy for cops to get on top of this with the commotion that it raises in various areas.
It's not. It's really difficult for police to get there, and that's why the law is trying to catch up in a lot of places. So in the city of Seattle proper, I believe the fine is, you can be fined for watching these things as well now, and I believe the first fine is $100 if you're caught watching, and because you're contributing to all of this, you're showing up and you're contributing.
Yeah, there's no audience, there's no performance.
Obviously, there's going to be greater penalties for people doing it, driving recklessly, and other criminal charges. But especially, now we're talking about perhaps vehicular homicide is involved in this case. In California, they're really trying to get a handle on this, and their penalties are extraordinarily higher than they are here in Seattle. We're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars in fines, even if you just watch these things, because they become such a problem in cities throughout California, and we're seeing it here now as well, across the country, really. But it's in our neck of the woods, certainly.
This is, you said, a newly instituted fine in Seattle for viewing these, for attending these. That's not the case in Lake Tapps in this particular region.
I have to do some more research. I don't know that they do.
Yeah, the first I heard is that Seattle's the first one that has done this.
That's right.
Finding people for even watching these things. And do they know if this was marketed on social media ahead of time, if it was a scheduled event? Or it seems like one car doing donuts may have been just impromptu on the 4th of July, and a crowd that may have already been gathered for festivities just became a natural audience for this vehicle, making it even harder to figure out who it was and what happened.
And in the video, you can see fireworks going off, too. So perhaps it was in an area where people were also celebrating with fireworks, or right there at the scene as well, because some of those fireworks are actually happening and detonating like right there on the ground level. Look, do we know exactly from, I've been digging all morning if someone announced this. I don't have that. I haven't seen that, but that's the case in all of these. It's those younger folks who were there in their teenage years, in their 20s, they didn't just show up. It doesn't take any of us to, we can all kind of figure out that, this was an announcement that was socially underground and spread, and hey, we're all going to be there, tell some friends, and then you show up and you watch these things and you're contributing to it, and which makes the people doing the donuts, I'm sure, rev that engine a little bit harder.
That's why they do it. Yeah, to take, like I said, for the attention of this. I know the Auburn Police Department are still looking for information that may lead to the arrest of this hit-and-run suspect who critically, maybe fatally, hopefully things will take a turn for the better, but she's clinging to life as we speak.
Clinging to life at Harborview. And yeah, if you have any information, call police, and they are checking cameras in the area as well. Detectives are. They have been all day today as they're trying to track down that license plate leading to so someone knows something, and hopefully they'll say something.
And the numbers, if you do know, if anything, if your kids were out there that night, if you're a parent, the number is 253-288-7403. 253-288-7403. There's no reward posted yet for information leading to this, because somebody in attendance at this thing probably knew who this was or has video of this that could be helpful in figuring out who this. It's one thing to be racing and running from the cops when you hit someone and someone's clinging to life. That's a whole nother ballgame.
Hit someone and then just keep going. Keep the gas pedal on and got out of there, because they're concerned about themselves getting caught by police rather than the welfare of that young lady who was laying in the middle of the road after she was hit.
Thank you, Luke. Luke Ducey, everybody. And there's a story on this on mynorthwest.com. You can check it out, the details of it. One thing that we have seen is some accountability for a local street racer, a social media star, if you will. The Belltown Hellcat was actually sentenced yesterday to 30 days in jail. And this is from new charges. I think when it was sentenced 30 days ago, or the charges were brought 30 days ago. Is that the case on this particular one?
Yeah, correct. So after almost 2 years of being a menace around Belltown, breaking the law, disturbing the peace, making lots of money through illegal activity and posting it online as a dreaded influencer, and I choose that phrase wisely, 30 measly days behind bars. Now, you said, Spike, in your summation of this, that there is some accountability here. I don't even view this as a slap on the wrist. I think this is a tap on the wrist. I don't think the punishment fits the crime. The lighter sentence sentence is going to encourage and not discourage these kind of actions by street racers, drivers who want to take over roads and do donuts, cause a ruckus, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I think this was far too lenient here in this case.
Now, this is a particular case with this individual who has been in court numerous times on various charges. I think it was a domestic violence charge once with involving him and his mother. There's been numerous instances where he has been told not to do these types of videos and race through the streets with this Hellcat that's been souped up, and the muffler system on it is exaggerated to make it even louder. And that's what gives him the social media notoriety. Part of this is it's a 1-year sentence with everything but 30 days suspended.
So 327 days suspended.
If this guy can stay out of trouble, if he's arrested again, or if he's stopped again for this, he's going to be looking at the entire year in jail. Also, he's been banned from certain type of social media posts for 2 years, and I imagine anything that remotely resembles breaking the law for clicks or views is going to be part of that ban for 2 years. And that's where you're going to get these guys just taking away their
moneymaker.
Yeah.
Well, his excuse in trial in June was, he said his motivation for participating in such reckless content, saying he initially struggled to earn money but found content creation to be a lucrative outlet.
And for so many, I get it. Social media is a means to an end, a financial future for a lot of people.
Well,
but
so is selling hard drugs.
Well, I was about to say, it doesn't mean that posting illegal things shouldn't be a means to an end
the
financially.
copious amounts of evidence here had to be a mountain of evidence, because I had seen some videos of this, and what struck me was just how brazen this person was, and the amount of attention this person was getting on social media, which further kind of validates my take that, what garners most eyeballs in the world, in the digital realm, are the extremes, are the things that are out of the ordinary, is the bizarre or the over the top. And so a clearer message needs to be sent here that this won't be tolerated. And I just don't know if 30 days in jail is going to do it.
That's a fair take on things.
I've covered this story a lot as well, and this is going to sound bizarre coming out of my mouth, but he's kind of a nice guy. He seems
like a nice guy.
I know it's I say that, and then I think about the domestic violence charge. It was his mother, because she didn't make the toast correctly or something like that. I'm going to get it wrong.
No, I think that's right. It was something inane, some little thing,
cup of coffee or something like something like
and
that.
And she owns the car, right? She paid for the car that he uses to make this social media income that he's got going on.
Yeah, he strikes me as just a younger guy who may need some guidance in his life. I spoke with him. I spoke with him in court. I was in Seattle Municipal Court one time, and this is what I mean by nice. I mean, he was cordial, polite. I leaned over because I wanted to see his social media handle, and there was a time during that back and forth where he was closing one social media account and opening another, and his attorneys were trying to argue about, well, can you really shut down social media like that, Judge, because that's a First Amendment right, et cetera, et cetera. Well, I leaned over to him and I said, hey, Miles Hudson is his real name, and Miles, what's your Twitter, what's your handle? I think it was Instagram. And he told me, and he was nice about it, and I looked it up, and there he was, and I said thank you, and oftentimes he would stop in the hallway and talk to reporters, but just a bizarre. He won't. It seems like he just doesn't want people to tell him what he can and cannot do. But now you have judges telling him what he can and cannot.
Well,
do.
When you ignore court orders and repeatedly, and I think it was a minor when this all started, so there was not much that the court could do to him, and he kind of seemed to be hiding behind that. You can't do much to a minor with regard to jail time. But now that he's crossed over into adulthood and he keeps continuing to skirt the law. And 30 days, let's see if it takes. Let's see if the kid can come out, have 30 days and have learned anything from this.
But Spike, here's the signal that you're sending to the next generation. And again, this quote here from him: initially, I struggled to earn money, but found content creation to be a lucrative outlet. But what type of content creation are we talking about here? We're talking about things that push the envelope and are, yes, illegal, right?
Yeah.
And so a generation that goes, man, I really don't want to work the 9 to 5, or it's really frustrating to go out there and work the grind and stuff. Maybe I'll test the boundaries of the law as well, because you can make thousands of dollars a day in certain cases by garnering 1 million eyeballs, 500,000 eyeballs for this and that. And it's a risk reward straightforward calculation, right?
Yeah,
and then
but-
you go, okay, I can make a good amount of money for a while, and the worst that's going to happen is I might get 30 days in jail. That's a risk worth taking for a lot of people.
Well, it seems to me that if this isn't the last time this kid uses social media as an income through illegal means, that 30 days is just the tip of the iceberg. He's going to be back in jail for a year. It's not like they gave him a 30-day sentence.
Yeah, we'll see. With the court system up here, it's 1 strike, 2 strike, 3 strike, 20 strikes.
So you can't judge this kid by the shortcoming of the court system with other things. And also, I don't like making an example out of this guy for other young people who may be looking to make social media incomes through illegal means. It's not fair to this kid to give him an excessively heavy sentence as a deterrent to others to not post this kind of thing. I get where you're coming from, but I mean, the law sometimes you got to be even-handed about it. Does what he hasn't destroyed any property, he hasn't stolen anything. He's been a noise violation, repeatedly, of course, and ignoring court orders, of course. But guy hasn't run. He's not street racing. He's not burning donuts in the middle of the street. He's literally just revving his car through canyon-like settings with loud volumes after hours and making a noise disturbance. So we'll see how the 30 days plays out, if it does have a positive effect on this young man. And like Luke said, he's a nice enough guy. Maybe 30 days in jail is
Luke
what the kid
was
really
charmed by a hardened criminal.
I know.
He's not a butthead.
I saw it when I said it. I saw your face over there. I went, oh no.
Hey man, if he was an absolute piece of garbage in court and flippant and defiant and smug, you wouldn't feel that way. And maybe 30 days wouldn't have any effect on the kid. I'm an optimist. Hope maybe he can learn something in 30 days. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm right. But it's more likely than not, Greg, that you probably are right. Kids these days,
we shall see.
We shall see how it goes. Luke Ducey, thank you so much.
You bet.
For
Thank
giving us
you.
insight on both
The
these
Deuce.
cases. Deuce, I love him. And it was his cougar jokes, not mine. They were all Luke Ducey's cougar jokes. When we come back, we will tell you about a plan for the Seattle area and the visitors therein for next year's FIFA World Cup. There's going to be a new addition to downtown, and we want to know what you think about it because we are mixed reviews on this. We'll tell you right after these.
This hour is brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook at Muckleshoot Casino.
You listen to Charlie and Manda on Seattle's Morning News every morning. What do they listen to every afternoon?
I listen to John all the time when I'm driving home, driving my kids around.
I also listen to the John Curley Show. Even by the end of the day, I still like to keep my brain active, and he's very good at doing that.
John, first of all, is hilarious. I never know where this dude is coming from.
The perfect bookends to your daily commute with KIRO Newsradio on 97.3 FM and the KIRO Newsradio app.
Hi, everybody. Spike O'Neill here for Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens. And I got to tell you, folks, we've promoted over the years a lot of different clients and services and products. I have never felt more wholeheartedly supportive of any client than I have for the team at Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens because they gave me back my eyesight. I always had great vision my entire life, always, 20/20 vision. But as all of us do over time, started to lose a little bit of the effect. And I started needing readers, and I couldn't ever find my readers, couldn't read without them. Went to the offices of Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens, had myself a comprehensive exam. They told me I had the beginnings of cataract. And if I didn't do anything, it was going to get a lot worse really quickly. And I was a perfect candidate for refractive lens exchange. It was a one-afternoon procedure, a couple weeks of recovery, and now I've got the best vision of my life. Not just 20/20, I've got 20/10 vision. And I will never develop cataract with refractive lenses. And I will never need readers again. If it's time for you to take a look at what your eyes could be, give them a call at 425-451-2020, Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens, 425-451-2020, or online, sharp-vision.com, sharp with an e-vision.com, official eye care providers of Sounders FC.
We're here with our friend Steve Teitler of Best Mortgage, the reverse mortgage expert. Steve, mortgage rates have been dropping this year. How could that help seniors struggling to stay in their homes?
Lower mortgage rates means seniors can now get more money from their equity with a reverse mortgage. You can pay off your existing mortgage, have extra money to help with today's high cost of living, or believe it or not, you can even buy a home with a reverse mortgage. There are many uses, and best of all, you have no mortgage payments the rest of your life.
But as you always say, a reverse mortgage is not for everyone.
That's right. Avoid the high-pressure sales pitch from those out-of-state call centers. I give you a consultation, not a sales pitch. I'll tell you if a reverse mortgage is right for you and I always tell you if it's not.
Honest advice you can trust from the reverse mortgage experts. Best Mortgage, the VA loan experts and debt consolidation specialists too. 425-649-6000. Best Mortgage, 425-649-6000.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Linwood Event Center. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Linwood Event Center. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Linwood Event Center. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Linwood Event Center. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Linwood Event Center. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Linwood Event Center. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Linwood Event Center. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Well, this week's First Mark Challenge victory goes to Dan. Dan, why did you call First Mark Insurance?
I had the same insurance company for 30 years and just accepted all the premium increases as inflation or feeling tethered to them because I have earthquake coverage and was uncertain about being able to get that anywhere else. But when I talked to Ken at First Mark, wow, he came back with bigger umbrella policy, better earthquake coverage, which I didn't think was possible. And when he came down with the premium number, it was a no-brainer. We were saving over $2,500 a year. Don't wait, because it's annoying to think of what I could have done with that money over the last 10 years had I done something sooner.
Well, Dan did it. My family did it. You got to do it, and it's totally free. Take the First Mark Challenge today. See how much money they can save you and how much better your coverage will get. Maybe you will be the next First Mark Challenge victory that I get to talk to as well. Simply go to firstmarkinsurance.com, firstmarkinsurance.com.
Tired of sitting on your suitcase? 2 words, packing cubes. Sometimes a different way is the better way. Like the SR 509 Expressway, an alternate route that'll help manage congestion on I-5 and other local roads. Now open and free through summer.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Heather Bosch. A northern Idaho firefighter injured in an ambush attack that killed 2 of his colleagues is on the road to recovery. KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey reports.
A single shotgun blast collapsed firefighter Dave Tisdall's lung, broke his collarbone and several ribs. What he did next, lying on the ground, an active shooter still taking aim, Coeur d'Alene Fire Captain Nate Hyder tells KREM TV was heroic.
Dave was able to alert Battalion 5 to get down and get out of the line of fire. Dave's actions saved a lot of lives that day.
Tisdall remains hospitalized and can't yet move below the chest. Deputies say the shooter, 20-year-old Wes Raleigh, died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
In Central Texas, at least 109 people are now confirmed dead from flash flooding, most of them in Kerr County, where local leaders are facing tough questions.
Questions about when local leaders were made aware of the flooding on Friday and what they did. Sheriff Larry Letha.
And we're in the process of trying to put a timeline. That's going to take a little bit of time. As I've told you several times, that is not my priority
priority this time.
With County Judge Rob Kelly not in attendance, Game Warden Ben Baker was asked about the failure to call evacuations.
You have many questions.
The judge is not here.
We understand that, but right now, this team up here is focused on bringing people home.
Chris Fox for CBS News, Kerrville, Texas.
President Trump is delaying his tariffs set to take effect this week until August 1st. The head of the International Trade Center, Pamela Cook Hamilton, says that's not helpful.
This move actually extends the period of uncertainty, undermining long-term investment and business contracts and creating further uncertainty and instability.
Trump is inviting countries to negotiate how much their goods should be taxed when they are imported to the U.S. Amazon Prime Day is underway. CBS tech analyst Ian Scher.
Particularly for Amazon, it seems to have tapped into this holiday shopping in the summer idea, which has been around for a long time, but supercharged by Amazon and now a bunch of other retailers as well.
TikTok's parent company ByteDance has laid off 65 of its Bellevue employees. According to a statement obtained by the Seattle Times, the cuts affect roles with TikTok Shop. On Wall Street, the Dow is down 134 points, NASDAQ off by 5. From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk, no major blocking problems, but you are a bit slow on southbound I-5 and Federal Way from about Costco past Wild Waves, not quite down to the Fife Curve. And you're slow on I-5 southbound near JBLM. Travel times Tacoma to Olympia, 45 minutes. That's about 8 longer than usual. Other travel times, Everett to Seattle, 31 minutes. Federal Way to Seattle, 26. Renton to Bellevue, 16. All of those at or better than what we expect this time of day. Traffic brought to you by Closets by Design. Custom storage solutions for closets, garages, home offices, and more. ClosetsByDesign.com. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Sunshine with highs in the mid-80s. It's 77 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio Northwest News.
Welcome to the Jake and Spike Show. I'm Spike O'Neill along with Greg Tomlin. Laura Scott's in with us. And there's a story that's coming out now. We got an update today from Axios Seattle. We all know that the World Cup is coming to America next year, and Seattle in particular is going to host a few games. And we hope that's going to be a tremendous boost in revenue to the city.
I can't wait.
Tourism.
I can't wait to take the light rail over Lake Washington. Oh, wait, is that not operative
You're such
at
a
this
cynic.
point?
Oh, my gosh. Let me ask you this. Do you like it when big events come to town? As a local, right? I mean, it's a tremendous revenue generator for the city. I mean, right now it's cruise season. Seattle's the second largest destination in America over the 4th of July holiday, and that's due entirely to the cruise season. But with regard to like when the Taylor Swift concerts came to town a couple summers ago, was it last summer or a couple summers ago? That was the largest revenue generator, and it was like a small country of revenue for the city.
I think I'm somewhat indifferent. I do like when city officials decide to go, hey, we can finally clean up everything around here for a brief period of time, but more...
You're looking at my hole cards now. That's my ace in the hole, is that they're actually going to clean the place because the World Cup's coming.
Yeah, but it ends up being just like a deep clean for the homeless, and then they just return and go, oh, my residence has been cleaned, and now I can set up shop again, so it's temporary.
I've been saying for years now we should invite a dignitary or an event every week.
Every 6 weeks.
Every week. Don't wait. If you keep it clean, then they never come back.
But it shows that they can do it if they want to. So it's equally encouraging and frustrating at the same time when it does get cleaned up.
It costs to clean it, and you have to have big events like this. Anyway, what I'm trying to get to here, we're burying the lead here. Last week, a Tuesday, a week ago today, Mayor Harrell approved an ordinance that would allow the Downtown Seattle Association to install touchscreen kiosks, 8 foot tall by 3 foot wide, touchscreen, like street level, eye level billboards, basically, to use for visitors to Seattle for the FIFA World Cup. They're information kiosks. They're in multi-language. They are just they're guideposts for new visitors to the city, and they're not going to be ripped out after the World Cup, I'm assuming. They could be then used for local information. Different advertising will be used on the boards. A lot of people are concerned about that. That it's busy enough downtown, sidewalks are crowded enough as it is. But then they did a survey. Axios Seattle did a survey of their readers. What do people think about these? And 2/3 had negative reactions. 49% strongly disapproved of the kiosks. 18% say they were somewhat disapproving of these. These are not getting a good review going in. And I just wonder what you guys' thoughts are. Is this an intrusion? Is this a benefit to the city that will go on long after the World Cup comes and goes?
The first image that is conjured up in my mind is that of Minority Report when Tom Cruise is walking all around that futuristic city and there's just like digital advertisements everywhere. It's like scanning his eyeballs and then he gets in a driverless car. Like we seem to be headed in that direction. Steven Spielberg might have been somewhat prescient, or at least the author of Minority Report. But I come at this from a slightly different angle because I feel like these digital kiosks wouldn't last very long in terms of how they would be treated or mistreated by the local criminal element or those looking to tag or the homeless. I mean, just takes one little hammer to take to one of these things and then it's cracked and the cost that would be accrued from that. There's also another concern about those who think that it might be an invasion of privacy eventually and that these could be used as cameras to sort of view people as they're walking around conducting themselves in their daily business. I actually think the ubiquitousness of cameras around in public spaces is not really a net negative. I too am sort of on the fence about wanting to become too Orwellian or have Big Brother watching your every move.
Yeah.
But one of the tools that like law enforcement has in this day and age to catch criminals is the use of cameras put everywhere.
Yeah.
And again, in public spaces, you're usually not doing anything totally private that you wouldn't want caught on a camera other than just walking up and down the street.
Yeah.
But if you're a criminal, I think it's a device for law enforcement. What do you think, Laura?
I hate this.
You hate it?
I'm so in the strongly disagree camp of.
How come?
Yeah, what's your top reason, though?
Okay.
And keep in mind, we're an industry that relies on advertising. But go on.
You know where I'm going with this. Well, it's not only that I think they'll immediately be defaced and destroyed. They have cameras in them, but they're not using those as a security feature.
Yet.
They're using it so you can take a selfie.
Yeah.
Yet.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no cost to the city, right?
Right.
The Downtown Seattle Association is offering to pay for these. There's going to be 30 of them installed on street corners, I assume, downtown.
Or mid-blocks too. Yeah, in the downtown business corridor.
But because they're paying for them, they are reserving the right to have advertising revenue from them.
Is that a bad thing?
They're expecting to rake in just over $1 million a year. I don't want digital billboards littering Seattle city streets.
All up in your grill?
Well, and just kind of ruining the vibe of the city. They say it'll make things look more like techie and futuristic.
That would suck, huh?
First of all, I don't think a touchscreen kiosk is techie or futuristic. It'd be techie or futuristic if it could like track my eyeballs and I didn't have to touch it or I could wave at it. But this is like they've had these in malls forever. I mean, as long as I've been alive.
The information kiosk. Yeah, you used to have like a physical map in a mall. That's how old I am. They could tell what store you were in. Like
you are here.
You are here. Dot. Yeah. I'm kind of for these.
Really?
Yeah, I think we've got advertising aplenty downtown. Every store is advertising. Right, every store. It's not like you're walking through the forest when you're downtown in the business corridor
we have
of
rules
Seattle.
Against billboards for a reason. You know.
Yes, we do, but we also let businesses advertise for a reason, and there are advertising limitations as well. Signs can't be protruding from businesses; have to be flush along the face of a business. And these things are, have you been to a bus station or a bus stop? Those are advertising all over the bus stops.
I just think it's a potential disaster waiting to happen. It's one thing if you're Singapore, where if you're a citizen there and you throw out a piece of gum, they'll like chop off your hand. I'm embellishing a little bit. It's not that extreme. Okay, but what I'm saying is you could get away with having this in a place like Singapore and then it would be kept in pristine quality and all this kind of stuff. But around Seattle, on some of these street corners and blocks and stuff, you're going to get urine on them. You're going to get people breaking them. You're going to
Dublin to, what was the U.S. city?
Oh, New York.
The Portal, New York.
The Portal.
Yeah.
I tried that. It was closed down for damages.
Exactly.
I was in Dublin.
What, 24 hours?
Yeah. Well, that was people performing, for the camera.
Well, yeah,
in
but
New
this
York.
thing's going to have a selfie camera in it.
So you guys are surrendering. You're saying we can't have nice things because we can't keep things nice.
We can't.
Maybe have them high up in the air. How about that as a compromise?
That would be futuristic. And they float down to you.
And then it's hovering over you, staring at you.
And then it'll guide you to the nearest chain restaurant that can afford to pay for advertising.
There you go. Oh my gosh, you guys. Well, they're coming whether we like them or not. Let's see how quickly they're destroyed. We'll save them. I'm serious because you're probably right. I wish you were wrong, but I don't think you are.
Let's put it in an envelope.
Okay.
48 hours.
There you go. 48 hours, scratched, tagged, defecated upon. The kiosks are coming. Well done.
Oh, the poo being smeared on the screen. That's coming.
God.
You know it's
coming. And then
coming.
go ahead and touch it. Go ahead and touch it. It's sponsored by Wet Wipes? Sponsored by what? Like Clorox? Oh, well, I hope. God, I wish you guys were wrong, but I'm
It'll put us on the map, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, great. That's what we want.
Be a smear on a map.
So today's a brave new day at SeaTac. Speaking of germs, travel through SeaTac just became easier starting today. We'll tell you what's been done for you, the traveler, when we come back. It's the Jake and Spike Show with Greg Tomlin.
KIRO News Radio, the Northwest's trusted news source.
Get the latest from KIRO News Radio's James Lynch.
It happened Wednesday morning just after 6 o'clock.
Experienced voices you trust.
Several people hurt after a violent Saturday in Pierce County.
Coverage you depend on.
More from KIRO News Radio's Matt Markovich.
It's as close to a veto warning as you could possibly get.
KIRO News Radio. We're on YouTube, our app, your smart speaker, and 97.3 FM.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Families are making plans for summer road trips, and with rising costs, they're looking for ways to save. Joe Saul-Sehy, personal finance expert and host of the Stacking Benjamins podcast, says planning ahead can help.
Setting a realistic budget for things like food, gas, lodging, of course, that's going to make an impact and help you save money. But also focusing on those little things, looking at reward programs and offers and incentive can help a family defray the cost of the trip a lot while also making sure that you keep all the fun.
Families can protect their investment in their vehicle with programs like GM Rewards MasterCard from Barclays and the GM Rewards Loyalty Program. Card members can earn points towards exclusive experiences, a new car, routine service, or digital features like OnStar.
If you're already spending money on things like groceries or travel, why not sign up for the reward program for those things to get points? It's a great way to build future savings toward future adventures.
To learn more about GM Rewards and the GM Rewards MasterCard, visit experience.gm.com.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that. And third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's a new year, but many seniors are struggling with the same old problem: high prices and rising property taxes. We're here with our friend Steve Teitler of Best Mortgage, and he says a reverse mortgage may be the answer.
Many seniors cannot afford to stay in the home they love. A reverse mortgage gives them access to equity in their home without having to sell. They can pay off their mortgage if they have one and maybe pull some extra cash out of their home. And best of all, they have no mortgage payment the rest of their life.
But as you always say, a reverse mortgage is not for everyone.
That's right. Avoid the high-pressure sales pitch from those out-of-state call centers. I give you a consultation, not a sales pitch. I'll tell you if a reverse mortgage is right for you, and I always tell you if it's not.
Honest advice you can trust from the reverse mortgage experts. Best Mortgage. The VA loan experts and debt consolidation specialists too. 425-649-6000. Best Mortgage. 425-649-6000.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/radio. That's leaffilter.com/radio.
Tired of sitting on your suitcase? 2 words. Packing cubes. Sometimes a different way is the better way. Like the SR 509 Expressway, an alternate route that'll help manage congestion on I-5 and other local roads. Now open and free through summer.
Hey guys, it's Keith Dashafi from Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington, and we are not done celebrating 100 years of industry leadership. For a limited time, get $100 off every window, $100 off every door, or choose 60 months of 0% financing with no interest and equal payments. That's right, 100 years strong, and we're giving you more ways to save on the Pella difference. Schedule your free consultation today at PellaPNW.com. Thank you again for letting us serve you in the Northwest.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm Spike O'Neill. Greg Tomlinson for Jake Skorheim. Laura's with us. And you know, it's been almost 20 years that we have been required as travelers through airports to, take off the belt, take off the shoes, put them in a bin, strip down everything. No metal, no this, no that, no other. Open the electronics, no water, no containers, no gels. And I understand it is for our own safety. That was the intent.
In
anyway.
theory.
Well, we haven't. I don't want to knock wood.
How many people?
Pretty smooth sailing since then, right?
How many individuals out of the millions and millions of people that were screened at TSA that had to take off their shoes were then arrested or jailed for something they were having in their shoes?
I don't know.
I know some morons try to conceal guns in their baggage and take them through and get busted. But
true. People will forget they got a gun in their carry-on far more often than somebody has something in their shoe.
One of the most meaningless demands that we ever had to.
And it's because one guy tried to light his shoes on fire, right?
It was
shoe
something
bomber.
like that. I
There
mean,
was a guy on a
were
plane.
all paranoid after 9/11.
Right,
and
with good reason.
Yeah, there was the underwear bomber at one point in time. Shoe caught on fire and whatnot. Liquids, I think.
You
and
can't
then it
bring
led to that
more than this
rule.
much. Yeah, you bet.
But it was one of those facades of safety, don't you think, in retrospect? And at the same time, I did not find the rule particularly burdensome. Whenever I travel with a family of 5. We just took off the dumb shoes. We never complained about it. It's all perspective, right? I usually marvel at how easy it is to travel rather than focus on the little onerous things we have to do while I had to spend 5 extra minutes going to TSA to take off my shoes.
Well, I think it's
Get over it.
It's a boon for the slip-on shoe industry.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
no doubt.
an
But it was also
absolute
meaningless.
goldmine.
A boon for Birkenstocks.
Yes.
I like
those
the alliteration.
Skechers slip-ons or whatever, they wouldn't be alive today without this rule. And now that rule is gone. Starting today at SeaTac and airports across the country, the TSA says you no longer have to take your shoes off when traveling. And actually, we got some audio.
Yeah, Como News was down there just asking people how, general sentiment about this change.
Travelers tell me it's about time.
Big time saver. I've never met anyone who's had any weird stuff in their shoes. I think maybe something has happened once in the past, twice in the past, but the average person, they just want to get on the plane. And I think keeping your shoes on is a way that they can go about doing that.
It was Richard Reed was the shoe bomber.
Richard Reed?
Richard Reed. Yeah, the policy went into effect to remove shoes at TSA in 2006 after this guy had explosives packed in his shoes.
Thanks a lot, Richard.
Well, do you think, let me ask you this. Do you think that now, nothing's happened. Do you think that now shoes, and we're publicly announcing that shoes don't have to come off anymore? Is this ringing a bell for the ne'er-do-wells that shoes are now back on the table? You ill-intended knuckleheads.
It's a good question because usually a terrible event happens and then we have an uncanny ability to overcompensate or to overcorrect.
Absolutely true.
And then that stays around for far too long. And then we ease up again. Then we get lulled into a false sense of security and think, and then the bad thing happens again. So if you study history, it seems like there's more ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
Again, I love this discussion of freedom versus security. And there's always kind of a push and pull between those two concepts.
It's relevant to the conversation about the kiosks downtown. It's one thing to be eyesores and we can't keep nice things. Those are all valid arguments. But you brought up the fact of, there's going to be cameras in there for security's sake at first. But then to keep an eye on us all.
Well, maybe
and we surrender this privacy for the sense of security. Was it Ben Franklin's quote? Those who give up privacy for security deserve neither.
Sure, I'll buy that.
That's. I think I may be paraphrasing poorly, but I'm pretty sure that's the intent of the quote. And the origin was Ben Franklin.
Do you have your the enhanced IDs yet?
I got my real ID. That's part. Real ID is part of that to make sure that
which
fake
was
IDs.
Also an offshoot of what happened on 9/11, and it only took 24 years or whatever.
And that just finally came to fruition this year. The deadline, the much postponed deadline, finally came true.
More common sense screening makes far more sense. Instead of a one-size-fits-all approach to security at the airport.
What does common sense screening look like to you?
Oh, I'll let you interpret that. I don't want to get in any trouble.
Oh, I see. Just the ones who look like trouble. Is that what you're saying?
That's handshake
what you said.
And a wink.
That's what you said.
Get a wink.
A $20 bill.
There you go. Yeah. Hey, K-Tiger, how about slipping your family through? Yeah,
sometime I got to tell you about my card counting days when I would go to the airport fully strapped with like $70,000 cash and try to get through TSA with that. Like you're going down to Vegas, right? To do some card counting.
First off, the fact
those
that
were fun times.
I couldn't get $70,000 cash assembled if I gave both my kids as collateral. No, I would love to hear those kind of stories from
later.
you. Yeah, no kidding. When we come back, we're going to talk about the story we never thought would take. I didn't think would take this turn. The Epstein files, and apparently there's nothing to see here. We'll talk about how that's kind of hard to believe right after this.
KIRO Newsradio, the Northwest's trusted news source.
Get the latest from KIRO Newsradio's James Lynch.
It happened Wednesday morning just after 6 o'clock.
Experienced voices you trust.
Several people hurt after a violent Saturday in Pierce County.
Coverage you depend on.
More from KIRO Newsradio's Matt Markovich.
It's as close to a veto warning as you could possibly get.
KIRO Newsradio. We're on YouTube, our app, your smart speaker, and 97.3 FM.
Did you know that nearly half the homes in Western Washington are not properly insulated or not insulated at all? That may be the reason why your home is way too hot in the summer and way too cold in the winter. It may also be the reason that your energy bills are sky high. Right now, Insulation Northwest is offering a free inspection of your home's insulation. This is a $199 value and it's absolutely free, no obligation. Just call today and Insulation Northwest will arrange a time that works with your schedule. We'll perform a thorough exam of your home's insulation and give you the advice you need to start saving thousands. Everyone who calls today will also receive a free infrared screening of your home using the latest technology. This will help reveal any hidden flaws in your home's protective energy blanket. What do you have to lose? It only takes about an hour and it's absolutely free. Call Insulation Northwest today, the real insulation company.
InsulationNorthwest.com. Are you road trip ready? Bucky's Complete Auto Repair will make your car safe and dependable with expert service and old-fashioned care. Brakes, oil change, factory service, and more. No appointment needed, and yes, friendly financing is available. Bucky's.com.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, Northwest News.
Are you looking at senior living options for you or a loved one? If so, you likely have many questions, like, what can I afford? How long will my savings last? And if I run out of money, will I have to move out? If these questions are weighing on you, I'm here to talk you through different solutions. Hi, I'm Amanda from Care Partners Senior Living. At Care Partners, we're focused on offering high-quality, compassionate care at very affordable prices to help stretch and preserve your assets. And if you ever run out of funds and need to convert to Medicaid, you won't have to move. We have vibrant communities throughout Western Washington, Spokane, and Arizona offering independent, assisted living, and memory care. Our caregivers are some of the most loving and genuine people you'll ever meet. Stretch your assets, preserve your estate, and never worry about moving. That's peace of mind and the Care Partners Living difference. Learn more at carepartnersliving.com. Care Partners is excited to announce our newest communities in Port Orchard, Sumner, Snohomish, and North Creek Bothell. Visit carepartnersliving.com.
12s, it's go time. Seahawks training camp powered by Boeing kicks off July 23rd through August 12th at the Virginia Mason Athletic Center. Join us lakeside for a first look at your 2025 Seahawks as they put in work and gear up for a milestone 50th season. Register now at Seahawks.com/training camp.
For the news you trust.
Breaking news we are getting.
Experience matters.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo.
James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
Good morning. I'm Heather Bosch.
Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
We're on YouTube, our app, and 97.3 FM.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor. You visit urgent care over and over again. And it's always the same thing, right? Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and some nasal sprays. But they just keep coming back. You may suffer with chronic sinus infections. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure called the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic. Imagine a procedure so delicate there are no narcotics. Less cutting means less bleeding, so no packing, and no operating room. The Sinusoft procedure is designed for the clinic. If you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, and congestion, find out if the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic, is the solution for you. Call and set an appointment today. 206-388-2770. 206-388-2770. That's 206-388-2770.
If you have aging parents, you've probably worried about their bathroom. That old tub? It's a slip and a disaster waiting to happen. Hi, this is Ursula Roytine. With Bathfitter, you can convert it into a walk-in shower, custom fit, installed in just one day, and backed by a lifetime warranty. No mess, no demo, just a safer, better bathroom. Call Bathfitter today or visit bathfitternw.com to schedule your free consultation. And right now, take advantage of 0% interest for 24 months.
When you speed, you have less time to react. Follow the speed limit to keep other road users safe. Speeding catches up with you. Paid for by NHTSA.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio. KIRO FM and HD1. Tacoma, Seattle. Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. The death toll in the Texas floods is at 109. Searchers continue looking for victims.
You know, I've had a lot of people come up to me that have lost their children and their loved ones and thanked me, and it's hard to even hear that because I'm have closure, but we haven't pulled anybody out alive yet.
4 days have passed since anyone was found alive. At a briefing today, the questions turned to who was manning emergency operations and when did they know the weather had turned dangerous.
I can't tell you at this time. Okay.
You can't tell me if the emergency manager of the county actually issued an emergency alert. Okay.
CBS's Jason Allen says officials have already been thinking about upgrading the warning system.
Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick told us the state could fund warning sirens, and he thinks legislators can take it up this month.
If they can't afford to do it, then let us do it.
Is that a possibility?
Sure. We have a special session starting 2 weeks from today. And I think we can take that up and do some other things of funding these sirens.
When asked yesterday how many people might still be missing in the area, officials would not give a direct answer to that.
You may not have to take your shoes off at the airport anymore. Marla Diamond reports from New York on some changes to security.
Xavier Walker was about to board a flight to Arizona with his toddler and wife. She has TSA pre. He does not.
She's been telling me for years, oh, I don't have to take my shoes off. I don't have to take my shoes off. And now I don't have to take my shoes off. So I think it's the greatest day ever.
Deborah Gallagher from Texas has TSA pre and thinks the requirement should stay in place for those who don't.
Yeah, if it
stop somebody. The TSA 3-ounce rules for liquid will remain. Marla Diamond for CBS News, New York.
Wisconsin Supreme Court has cleared the way for the state to permanently ban conversion therapy. State Representative Christian Phelps.
It's very clear in the eyes of all the credible experts that this practice is not effective, that it's discredited, unethical, and harmful.
The ruling has an even broader impact, taking power away from the legislature to block the enactment of rules by the governor's office. The extreme heat continues in many countries overseas, as Matt Piper reports.
Authorities in Athens had to close the Acropolis for several hours in the afternoon due to high temperatures. It comes as mandatory work breaks remain in effect in parts of Greece, where temps have exceeded 107.
Flights to and from Marseille and France were suspended because of a wildfire near the southern port city. Residents warned to keep windows shut and stay indoors due to toxic smoke. On Wall Street today, stocks finished mixed. The Dow was off 165. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Illegal street racing leaves a woman in critical condition. The story coming up, but first from the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk. In Bothell, a crash has been cleared from northbound I-405 near State Route 527. You're still slow off and on from Woodinville to Canyon Park. On the Tacoma Bridge, a lane is blocked on State Route 16 eastbound. You're bogged down mid-span there. And you're slow on I-5 southbound near JBLM. Travel time Tacoma to Olympia, still about 45 minutes, 5 longer than usual. Traffic brought to you by Global Credit Union, where members enjoy no fee accounts and early payday with direct deposit. Learn more at globalcu.org.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Heather Bosch. An illegal street takeover has left a woman in critical condition. And as KIRO 7 TV's Jake Chapman reports, Auburn police are looking for witnesses to the July 4th event.
Auburn police say when officers arrived to control the crowd, one of those cars at this takeover took off and ran over an 18-year-old girl.
These events are extremely dangerous.
Auburn police say detectives in the traffic unit are combing through cameras across the city.
We know that there were a lot of people there, and there's a lot of people who probably have video, probably know exactly who it was and what happened.
As they continue their search for those responsible.
The man known as the Belltown Hellcat is heading to jail.
Ooh, I hit him past me, hold on.
A judge says 22-year-old Miles Hudson put lives at risk by repeatedly driving recklessly through the city of Seattle in his modified Dodge Charger. KIRO 7 TV reports Hudson was sentenced to a year. With credit for time served, he'll spend about 30 days behind bars. He was also ordered to pay a $5,000 fine and do 24 hours of community service. A Port Orchard neighborhood is mourning the loss of a 40-year-old man and his 9-year-old daughter killed in a weekend house fire. Michelle Merlino tells KIRO 7 TV.
We're still processing, and it's hard to believe that they're gone and the house is gone. It's hard to believe. And we don't know what we can do for them. It's hard.
Firefighters say the house was engulfed in flames when they arrived. The fire marshal is looking for the cause of that fire. Boeing continues to recover from last year's door plug blowout and 2 deadly MAX crashes 6 years ago. The company delivered 60 airplanes last month, including 42 MAX jets. And the Seattle Times says Boeing had its best delivery rate for the first half of the year since 2018. A Seattle woman marks a major milestone.
I was born in 1918.
Rosa celebrated her 107th birthday this week. She tells KIRO 7 TV the secret to a long life is to stay busy.
Always doing something, and don't sit there and say, oh, there's nothing to do. Go out and volunteer somewhere, but keep active.
This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Sunshine today with highs in the mid-80s. It's 80 right now in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News. It's the all-new Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm Spike O'Neill, along with Greg Tomlin in for Jake Skorheim. It's the Jake and Spike Show, and we've been looking at this story for the last 24 hours, and it's kind of developing, and as much as they'd like to put it to bed, the Trump administration and their Department of Justice, our Department of Justice, yours and mine, these people, I've always got to keep in mind, they work for us. Attorney General Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice, FBI Director Kash Patel, Deputy Director Dan Bongino, work for us and should be accountable to us. So for months now, we've been seeing very public displays of and promises of the Epstein files and the ongoing investigation, the thorough investigation of this criminal enterprise that led to his Giselle, what's I don't want to
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Ghislaine Maxwell. I didn't bother to learn her name, but I don't. Maybe it is nice to disrespect by mispronouncing Maxwell's first name. This lady's in jail, so there's something here. But it was announced yesterday by the Department of Justice that there is no client list, and do we have Pam Bondi contradicting that back in April? We have that audio, right? So before we go on what was released yesterday or claimed yesterday, let's remind you what was said just months ago.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, we'll check back with you.
Nice try there, Scoop. You want to drop a couple names on us? A little teaser for the commercial break? And then yesterday, of course, it was White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt trying to do a little verbal and mental gymnastics for us about...
The FBI looks at the circumstances surrounding the death of Jeffrey Epstein. According to the report, this systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. So what happened to the Epstein client list that the Attorney General said she had on her desk?
Well, I think if you go back and look at what the Attorney General said in that interview, which was on your network, on Fox News.
Got the quote.
Go ahead.
John Roberts said, DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? And she said, it's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Yes, she was saying the entirety of all of the paperwork, all of the paper in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That's what the Attorney General was referring to, and I'll let her speak for that. But again, when it comes to the FBI and the Department of Justice, they are more than committed to ensuring that bad people are put behind bars.
Survey says...
It's called a dodge.
Yeah, we're not... Come on. Give people some credit for knowing what we've seen with our eyes and heard with our ears. And I know that there's a very willing portion of the population that was, okay, maybe if I think about it that way, she really didn't say the client list is on my desk. Maybe she did mean people want to believe that they haven't been hoodwinked by this.
I don't think it was a coincidence that when Pam Bondi was interviewed by Fox News that she lumped in the JFK files, the MLK files, and the Epstein files all together because it's all part of a politicized conspiracy theory game. I tend to believe the common knowledge that it was James Earl Ray that killed MLK, that it was Lee Harvey Oswald that killed JFK, and that Jeffrey Epstein, while guilty, and Ghislaine Maxwell, while guilty, there may not exist this big extensive list that incriminates people at the highest levels of power all over the world, including current and former presidents and businessmen and so on and so forth. And I think, again, this politicized conspiracy theory game, as Andrew McCarthy of the National Review calls it, is coming back to bite the Trump administration and his various empowered officials all around government, and it's coming back to hurt them. The likes of Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, even J.D. Vance, who hinted, we're going to release this big list. Yeah, and they used it to get a following. Yeah. They espouse these theories on social media and various podcasts to help them win the election, because the thought amongst a lot of Trump's followers is there's some kind of cabal going on behind the scenes of elites and those in power that don't want you to know the real story. and we're going to get in there and we're going to completely shake things up and we're going to tell you the truth. Lo and behold, they get in there and they're like, wait, people, we're actually telling the truth and we have really no other way to spin this than there is actually no list. That's my interpretation of all this. So do you think it's more sinister than that? Where are you coming down?
I think I'm sure there wasn't a register which is signed by guests of these pedophile soirees on Epstein Island.
Well, like a guest book?
Yeah, that's, the guest list, what they're talking about. But there was no flight logs of who was on the planes. Those exist, and now there's nothing to see here.
But I think we know Bill Clinton was on a couple flights, right? Isn't that well-known knowledge and established knowledge at this point?
Yes, but bigger question.
And there's a video of Trump with Epstein, but what does that prove?
So let me ask you this, bigger question. What does it prove that someone went to Epstein Island? What does it prove?
Nothing good.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on a minute. Diddy had these freak-offs, okay? And they were like the who's who of Hollywood had to go to these Diddy freak-offs. And I know we're talking about pedophilia, and it's a different level of monster, okay? But everybody who went to Diddy's parties didn't get involved in the baby oil baths or whatever it was, or the multiple partner video whatevers. People went to these parties to be seen where they were seen amongst the rich and the swells. And I think the same can be said about certain people who frequented these Jeffrey Epstein events. Right. Doesn't mean every one of them was a monster.
You're not guilty by proximity.
Right. And you can do that with Bill Clinton because he's kind of a bit of a history of whatevers. But the people like the Alan Dershowitz and the Bill Gates and all the other celebrity names who frequented these parties of the super duper rich, doesn't mean every one of them was taking part in pedophilia.
But what's interesting is it's now Trump's opponents who are sort of wading into the conspiracy theory waters as a way to weaponize this whole Jeffrey Epstein thing now against Trump, right? So the shoe is on the other foot, so to speak. I was following the Twitter account of Sarah Longwell. I think she writes for The Bulwark, and she wrote, let's break this down. So the top law enforcement agent in the United States of America said that she had on her desk a list of the world's most powerful people who were having sex with minors. She's referring to Pam Bondi. Mm-hmm. Then the president's top advisor, Elon Musk, and richest man in the world, tweets out that Trump is on the list and therefore it won't be released. Then the attorney general now says the list doesn't exist and was never there on her desk. No more questions, please. So again, now it's Trump's enemies who are sort of saying, wait, could it be that this so-called Epstein list might have Trump on it? And now they're trying to gain political points through this whole thing.
I would argue that's not a new revelation for Trump's opponents, the Trump haters. That's been out in the ecosphere since day one. Trump has a history, a well-documented, self-proclaimed history of his attraction to the female form. Whether it was as the owner, I got to walk into the dressing room with a Miss Teen USA pageant or whatever it was, Miss Teen World, and inspect these nearly naked women because I was the owner. It was the 10-year-old. In 10 years, I'll be dating her or whatever it was. The guy's got a history. He's got 26 different allegations of sexual assault from various different women. He's been adjudicated as a sexual assailant. So when, for now, what it looks like to me, the nothing to see here, one of our own may be on this list. It was fine. It was fine to speculate, like you said, to weaponize. It's Clinton, it's this one, it's the Democrats, it's the pedophile Democrats, the cabal of people eating blah, 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 in the basement of the Pizzagate, whatever it was. That was weaponized for the conspiracy-based voters and used to win an election. And now that there is actually stuff to be looking at, nothing to see here. I don't trust the attorney general as far as I can throw her. The woman has zero credibility in my mind. It's just my opinion, but the woman has zero credibility.
So what do you think is more likely? That Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, Pam Bondi filled their various positions and roles now in the Trump administration, saw the truth and went, wait, pause, there's actually nothing here. Or they filled their current positions and went, there's something here, but it's incriminating against our boss. So nothing to see here.
I think that's more likely.
You think that's more likely?
Of course
Just because
I do.
you don't like these people, though.
No, because none of them are qualified to hold their positions. They're sycophants.
That doesn't make them liars. And
the fact that they lie makes them liars. The fact that they promote conspiracy theories makes them untrustworthy. Dan Bongino has been on his network radio, his syndicated radio show that ran on our own sister stations here. I know these stories. I've talked to these people. I know what happened on that plane.
That's to garner clicks and eyeballs and make money.
So was he untrustworthy as a broadcaster?
Yeah,
or is he untrustworthy as the deputy director of the FBI?
It's a valid
now
point.
That he's got skin in the game and a position of a power that he and Kash Patel hold. So there were people, and Kash Patel was tried to be named the deputy attorney general, deputy director of the FBI during the first Trump administration. They tried to put him into these positions. The entirety of leadership at the FBI threatened to resign for this guy, the thought of this guy being put in this position of power. Now this guy, who is a conspiracy theorist bar no other, he's the one that's done the investigation, saying there's nothing to see here. No, I don't give any credence whatsoever.
And that's
no
why
validity.
I think they're reaping what they sow, kind of thing.
You
It's finally turned
can't
against
play in the
them.
smoke and mirrors
You
game.
can't contain the beast,
Yes,
right?
Thank you. Yeah,
it's been used against you. I think the 30,000-foot view of this, though, Spike, is that this is what happens when trust begins to break down in a society and in our institutions, right or left.
True. And when you weaponize, you can't trust what you see.
Then everything is conspiracy fodder.
When you weaponize it, the only word you can believe is mine. No one will tell you the truth but me. That's got 1984 written all over it. I mean, and that's kind of where we find ourselves in this, this administration that can never admit a mistake. And that's Trump's, that's the model that Roy Cohn taught him. Always keep attacking, never admit a mistake. Move forward, flood the zone, as per Steve Bannon. Keep it coming. And then, there's no accountability. And we can't believe anything. We can't believe any news source that we see. We can't believe anything that we read, hear, or see anywhere, except if it comes from the Trump administration and those who work in service of the narrative.
Well,
and I know that I'm wearing my full TDS tin hat today.
No,
I get
not
it.
necessarily. But it's why it's imperative to me that we elect upstanding people that are trustworthy and that tell the truth. I mean, the truth is a sacred thing that must be protected at all costs. And now it seems like we elect people based upon either their charm or how interesting they are or how well they do in interviews.
Oh, it's
or
entertainment.
The pie in the sky
Absolutely.
promise they make, or the promises to
That's nothing new, though.
see behind the curtain here. And
I forget what show it was I was watching. It was, maybe, I don't want to misquote. But it's like, we elect people because of their likability, their TV personality. FDR, in the age of television, never would have won an election. America doesn't elect a man in a wheelchair in a television-driven political environment, right? And so we've always been that, who can be the most charming. Mike Dukakis probably had some good ideas, but got look like a tool. Was unelectably looked
the guy
like
in
a
the
tool.
tank in the
That was
80s?
the guy in the tank, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's all about, that's why Gavin Newsom has so much headway, because the guy looks like a TV star and talks like a smooth-talking politician. That's how Ronald Reagan got elected. He was a TV spokesperson that made instructional videos in Hollywood. And a B-level actor, but he could deliver a line, and he looked the part, and he emoted strength. And that's kind of that's what we elect.
So here's the final question here.
Okay.
Is this the final chapter on the Epstein story?
I was about
or is
that's
it
the same
now
thing.
just opened a whole new can of worms?
Okay, so where do we go from here? If there's nothing to see here, release everything. If there's nothing to see, there's nothing to see here.
Maybe everything's been released. I mean,
nothing's been released.
Well,
They walked out of the White House with binders promising everything would be foretold, and now the people I can't trust, just me, say there's nothing to see
When
here.
did Epstein off himself? 2019 or something like that?
I think I'm not sure about the exact.
So you
but it
had
sounds about right.
a Biden administration who's diametrically opposed to Trump. Now you have a Trump administration who's diametrically opposed to all things Biden, and both of them are being like, there's actually no list here, no grand flight logs where we're going to incriminate a ton of people. So either they're all rotten or they're all telling the truth. And that's what I'm saying. You kind of have to decide.
If he died in 2019, that wasn't the Biden administration. That was the first Trump administration.
What, am I getting my timelines?
Yeah.
But Biden was in office from 2020 to 2024. So
and if he died in 19...
If Epstein died in 19, what I'm saying is Biden then had access and all the law enforcement, apparatuses at his beck and call. He could have gone in and pursued it. That's what I'm saying. And both of them are now it's a sort of a nothing burger.
Well, I think everything needs to be released. Everything that's on her desk, if it wasn't the client list, if it was indeed the entirety of the files, make them public. Let's see what you got. Otherwise, I can't believe a word these people say. It's just convenient now that he didn't commit suicide. That there's a minute missing from the videos.
Have you watched the 10 hours of video of a door?
I don't give a rat's patootie about this clown.
You're right. There's a minute missing.
There's a minute missing.
And then I heard that the explanation for that is that these are old cameras from 1999, and they
reset
have to reset them.
There's a minute missing every day.
Which, by the way, has been a massive meme generator now. And you have people putting AI versions of Hillary Clinton in the jail cell, and it's gotten completely out of control and nuts.
There's they're untrustworthy. And maybe all political affiliation, all parties every administration is untrustworthy.
Let's listen to Trump today snap at a reporter over all of this.
This I think is very telling.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Is that telling to you, or is it just me because I don't like the guy and I don't think very much of our president?
I'm ready to put this whole thing to bed. Like you said at the outset of this hour, I think it's time to move on. But again, I'm not a guy who's typically prone to indulge kind of the conspiracy mind or the, we're not being, and maybe that's my own gullibility and naivete.
I think you want to get to the business of running the nation, which I respect. That's what, let's deal with. And to that point, I think Trump's okay. That you're asking about Epstein. It bears asking when after years of we want to know the truth, we're going to be getting the truth. Someone went to jail over this. But there's information to be reviewed.
I think
we're
by
reviewing
and large,
it now.
I think
there's going to be accountability at every level. There's going to be accountability.
Yeah.
Nothing to see here.
Well, I mean, is Ghislaine Maxwell able to flap her mouth and reveal
there's
names and get a shorter term or something?
There's a minute missing of every tape of her cell. I don't know. It just seems like there's far too many. Okay, I don't mean to be a conspiracy theorist. I hate this kind of crap. But, it seems convenient that it's time to move on. It really does. We're still talking about Hillary's
emails. The guy's dead. He was evil. He got what he deserved in the end.
But many people that associated with him and took part in the horrific monstrous acts he took part in also need to be held accountable.
Otherwise, it was far more reaching than just him and Ghislaine. And
yes. I mean, Alan Dershowitz, who's a respected attorney and has lived through this, this guy's out there getting a rub and a tug at the Epstein Island and is admitted to these massages that he's having. And I mean, I think I would like to know what's going on, especially if we want these monstrous people to be held accountable. If even rumors of this kind of monstrous activity is enough to torpedo people's livelihoods and careers and potential, futures, then I would like to know what's going on. I'd like to read all these files. I'd watch all 10 hours. Anywho, it's just fun to chew on the dirtiest. And it really is. It's fun to do it. When we come back, we are going to do something completely different, if you will allow us. Let's talk about saving up for your kids' future, because this is something that the president is doing now. And is he paying you to have babies? I wouldn't call it that. He's giving families an opportunity to save for the future, starting a 401 cradle, I'd like to call this thing. It's the new Trump fund. We'll tell you all about it. Trump account. We'll tell you all about it.
This hour is brought to you by Insulation Northwest.
KIRO News Radio is right there with you.
A big story developing this morning.
On your smart speaker before you head out the door.
Get the latest live from KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey.
Huge impacts for Boeing and Boeing workers.
The office, the gym, anywhere.
Water, like taxes, goes all the way down to the bottom, so it'll either come out of the employee's paycheck or the lack of raise.
KIRO News Radio. We're on YouTube, our app, your smart speaker, and 97.3 FM.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year.
These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to goodrx.com/GLP. That's goodrx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Experience the thrill of seeing orcas and humpback whales with Puget Sound Express. Join their family-run tours for guaranteed whale sightings, departing daily from Edmonds. These are Seattle's most popular and well-reviewed whale tours. Book now at PugetSoundExpress.com.
Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens has given me back clear vision. They've performed over 80,000 successful lens replacement surgeries. At Sharp Vision, you'll get the best price combined with the best experience. Sharp-vision.com. That's sharp with an E, -vision.com.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
Jason Rance here with our local tax expert and advocate, Greg Nunn from None Better Tax Resolution. So, Greg, we've got a new administration. What have we seen as a result at the IRS?
Well, the result that I think everyone is seeing is, unfortunately, reduction in staff.
And yet people think that because of those reductions, they're in a better spot.
Well, it's not necessarily the case, because the IRS is still going to work with the staff that they have. And in fact, their collection activity is going up.
But now is also the best time to get something done that could be favorable to the taxpayer who owes.
It's very interesting. I've had 2 cases now that I was able to get settled with the IRS fairly quickly and with some excellent results. I think they're just trying to get any case where there's a real live person working on it through the system quicker. They're needing to handle a lot more cases. The caseload isn't going to slow down.
If you're having trouble with the IRS, call Greg Nunn, None Better Tax Resolution, 425-947-1967, or Google NUNN, None Better Tax Resolution.
There's a sink at the brink and a drain that's a pain.
Dayandnight.net.
Your old water heater, she's starting to peter.
Dayandnight.net.
Plumbing emergency? Don't feel trapped. Do the smart thing and get a second opinion. Hi, I'm Bruce with Day and Night Plumbing and Heating. I guarantee you, whether Day and Night is your first choice or smart second opinion, we'll work harder than anyone to earn your trust.
Dayandnight.net.
Worried about your aging parents' bathroom? You can convert that old tub into a walk-in shower with Bathfitter. Custom fit, installed in just 1 day with 0% interest for 24 months. Call Bathfitter now or visit bathfitternw.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. That Coeur d'Alene firefighter injured in last week's ambush is now showing signs of recovery. And as KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey tells us, fellow firefighters are rallying behind him.
Engineer Dave Tisdall was lying on the ground, shot and bleeding, when he radioed his fellow firefighters to get down and take cover. Speaking with KREM TV, Fire Union President Gabe Eckert called Tisdale a hero during tragic circumstances.
None of this is easy, and it shouldn't be easy. This should all be hard. If we were good at this, we'd have a big problem.
Tisdale suffered a collapsed lung, broken ribs, and collarbone. Deputies say the shooter, 20-year-old Wes Rowley, took his own life. Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
2 other firefighters were killed in that shooting. Turning now to the closing bell reports, DoorDash is raising delivery fees in Seattle. The company blaming new city rules like a $30 an hour pay mandate. DoorDash says Seattle's now the most expensive markets they operate in the U.S. City leaders say the laws protect gig workers. President Trump is defending his latest move on tariffs. CBS's Linda Kenyon has the latest from the White House.
President Trump has sent letters to the leaders of several nations saying his 90-day pause on tariffs is ending, and soon countries will have to pay up.
We don't change very much. Every time we put out a statement, they say he made a change. I didn't make a change. A clarification, maybe. No, August 1st they pay.
Speaking at a cabinet meeting, the president said pharmaceutical companies also will have to pay.
They're going to be tariffed at a very, very high rate, like 200%.
But first, he says they'll be given about a year or a year and a half before those tariffs kick in. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
Well, Boeing has been busy this spring. The company announcing it delivered 150 commercial jets in the second quarter, including 60 last month. That's the most since December 2023. 737 MAX deliveries led the way. Boeing stock was flat at the end of today's trading session, closing at $218 a share. Mixed results overall on Wall Street amid tariff uncertainty. The Dow lost 165, S&P off 4. NASDAQ had a small win, gaining 6 points. Now to the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk. This report brought to you by Seattle Sports. Just cleared a crash on 405 northbound in Bellevue, just south of Southeast 8th Street. Was blocking the right lane. Going the other way, a little slow out of downtown Bellevue. That is a 30-minute drive down to Renton. And honestly, the rest of the map is in really good shape for this time of day. Just a 40-minute drive from Linwood to Seattle. Got those typical slowdowns right around the U districts. Looking at a 40-minute drive from Renton to Puyallup, 43 minutes from Tacoma to Olympia, and mostly freeway speeds all the way up into Everett from Seattle or Bellevue. Download the Seattle Sports app to stay in the know with the latest news, scores, and opinions about your favorite teams. The forecast now brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. We are seeing sunny skies today. Highs once again in the low to mid 80s. Right now, 81 in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Spike O'Neill with Greg Tomlin, sitting in for Jake Skorheim, who's on vacation this week. You know, Greg, you've got children.
Wait, what?
Are you just finding out?
Oh, now I remember.
You're
yes,
a dad.
I do.
Congratulations.
Yes. 3 wee lads. Or no, 2 lads and a daughter. Beautiful daughter.
Do you mind if I ask the ages?
14, 11, and 8.
So you, as a responsible, conscientious man, raised well. You've probably got accounts for them with regard to their future education, those kind of funds put aside, right? Savings accounts, those things. If you don't, I don't mean to disparage.
Let's go with that.
Okay.
It's hard to get by these days.
No, I'm with you. And I got to tell you, as a person putting their second kid through college right now, we didn't plan accordingly. We could have done better in saving for the educational expenses of our kid. We're kind of chasing the tuition and the student loan debts that will come from my second one's college education. The president, as part of the One Big Beautiful Bill passage, has instituted something called the Trump account.
Trump bucks.
Trump bucks. Are they gold? Do they have his face on them? It's a different kind of Trump money than we've been hearing about in the news. Trump accounts are a $1,000 of U.S. government deposit into an account for your child, beginning at birth. Any child born of U.S. citizen, at least one parent being a U.S. citizen with a Social Security number and working in the United States, if I read the requirements correctly, $1,000 will be placed into this child's account and put into a fund tied to, I forget what it's tied to. It's a stock fund. It's
like U.S. stocks, index fund.
An index fund. Thanks to the term I was searching for. With the ability for the parents to put in up to $5,000 in addition.
Right.
And the projected numbers on this are if a child born in the United States, and can only be between December 31st of 2024 and January 1st of 2029. So it will only be taking place during this Trump administration.
Unless it's extended.
Unless
of
it's
course,
extended, yeah. As things in government, if they're working, they often tend to get extended. If they're the other party's idea, they often tend to get torpedoed.
Well, when Trump wins a third term, it'll probably go to 2032.
Please don't. I'm on such thin constitutional ice right now.
Sorry, I digress.
Come on, man. My nerves are already paper thin. A child who's contributing, the family contributes to this, could have a rather sizable savings account over the years, to the point where, it would be enough to retire on by the age of 60 with just this initial investment from the government and parents.
Yeah, and so I read today this is not a novel idea. Hillary Clinton brought up this idea back in 2007 during her campaign. Democratic Senator Cory Booker proposed legislation offering up to $50,000 for newborns in 2021. It seems like a no-brainer here. The advantages of doing this for parents now, it's hard to see much difference between this and, say, like a 529 account or a Roth IRA. I think the main advantage is just to get parents thinking about this earlier.
Yeah.
And maybe it'll entice more mothers and fathers to go, hey, we'll open this Trump account because it's $1,000 free just to get us started, which is really kind of a drop in the bucket. But again, investing is about longevity, right? You're not going to accrue this over 4 or 5 years. So if you get enough parents to take this $1,000 early on, maybe it could pay dividends in 18 years, 22 years. But a lot of the same rules apply that they do to like Roth IRAs for like taking the money out
early
when you turn
withdrawals,
18, you get taxed. If you use it for education purposes, then it wouldn't be taxed. And there's a bunch of fine print here, but it kind of seems like a no-brainer and kind of a bipartisan thing, even though Trump has his name written all over it. What's the downside here, really?
Well, it's funny because John Curley yesterday was talking about this, and he said it's a cost of about $3.6 billion a year. Given the number of births in the United States on the average number of births, it would cost at current value, it would cost $3.6 billion a year for the U.S. to give every newborn child in America, legal newborn child born in America, a $1,000 starter in a savings account.
That's if parents choose to do it. I mean, they have to take that initiative.
Does every kid born come with a handprint of your foot in your hand and a $1,000 account?
I don't.
Or do you have to buy
Good
into an employer?
question.
Who wouldn't just take the free $1,000, even if it just sat there for 18 years, for 25 years, for 50 years, for 60 years? Well, why wouldn't you?
I don't know. I don't even think one of my kids has a birth certificate yet. So some things get lost when you're caught up in the moment of the birthing process.
Well, John's position on this was it's borrowed money. It's $3.6 billion a year of borrowed money, and it would cost the average taxpayer, by the time you pay back the interest on borrowed money in the federal debt situation, about $16,000 per newborn.
That sounds like fuzzy math to me.
I'm trying to find verification. Now, John said he'd seen a report on this, a study on this, about this. And that's the thing about federal spending is we're borrowing money on a regular basis. This one big beautiful bill, by all accounts, by accounts of the Congressional Budget Office, the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, said this could add almost $3 trillion to the national debt over 10 years with this new tax break for top earners and corporations and businesses and whatnot. So I mean, I don't know.
If you're a parent, what would you do? 888-973-5476. If you're expecting, are you going to take advantage of the Trump bucks? This new provision in the BBB. We want to hear from you.
I think it'd be hard to turn it down, $1,000 free dollars, and it might be enough of an incentive. Hey, since it's already started, let's just put a little something. If people get the incentive to start saving, some kind of an initiative, some inertia to get the savings ball rolling, maybe that's enough for people to start being self-sufficient and providing for their kids' futures. I wish we had done something like this.
Right. I like the thought behind it. Now, this is a practical matter. I think we'll have to wait and see, but I like the concept of I'm continually reminded that part of the essence of life is giving up the short term for the benefit of the long term. And if we can start thinking that way as Americans more and more, it's going to benefit the next generation and benefit the country currently, because right now it's what can I grab that's right out in front of me? What can I take advantage of? We are myopic thinking as a culture.
Yeah.
And this is sort of a change in that regard.
Yeah.
And so I sort of celebrate any move that says, let's make an investment towards the future. which this appears to be on the surface anyway.
Has our culture shifted too far to instant gratification?
100%. Are you kidding me? I mean, that question answers itself.
To reverse the trend, to start thinking long-term again, because I think you're spot on. We don't think long-term anymore in any regard to any aspect of our life.
I don't think the change will happen overnight, but I think incremental change can happen.
Man, that'd be great. I hope you're right. You know, I wish in hindsight that the truly unpleasant Mrs. O'Neill and I had been a little more forward-thinking with regard to our kids' educational futures. We wouldn't find ourselves, and God knows what's going to happen with student debt with regard to some of the new provisions in the One Big Beautiful Bill, the 3B, as you called it. There's changes to how student debt is calculated, how it is collected. The monthly payments of student debt's going to be increased under this bill. The fact that wages can be garnished, Social Security benefits could be garnished for outstanding student debt under this new bill. And I'm not saying those are bad things, because delinquents should pay their bills. And I've heard numerous stories saying if you owe student loan debt, and a lot of people are in arrears because of the COVID pause on student debts and all these different things. And it's what they're asking, what the government is asking, the lenders, the Fannie Mae's or whomever that are asking these, is just be in touch with us. Set up a plan. They're willing to set up a payment plan for folks rather than chase you down for your income. They'd rather you got with them and be accountable and responsible and make a plan to start paying us back what you can pay when you can pay it. And I think that's all. Accountability is great. I hope you're right about the long-term thinking, and it's not being too late to reverse that. When we come back, there's something that's been a beautiful romantic part of my youth is going to be coming to town. It's coming to town today for it to become a part of your life and to be part of your memories about American history. We're talking about the tall ship. America's tall ship is coming into Seattle today. We'll tell you all about it next.
The first place you turn to for breaking news.
Protest outside City Hall.
KIRO News Radio.
James Lynch begins our team coverage live at City Hall.
Now, we are told by SPD that 4 people have been arrested for assault. For more on the counter-protesters, we go to Scott Carney.
See a group of another 10 officers come down the steps.
Closures now extended from Washington closer to the stadiums.
KIRO News Radio on 97.3 FM, and download the KIRO News Radio app to listen anytime.
The closing bell is brought to you by Legacy Group Capital Common Sense Lending.
What's the biggest mistake you can make when selling your home? Settling for less money. That never happens with Orchard. Disappointing offers can wear you down, causing you to settle for thousands less. You don't have to settle when you sell with Orchard. Orchard reinvented the real estate industry by guaranteeing your home sale and helping you sell on the market for top dollar. First, Orchard gives you cash up front so you can buy and move into your new home first, on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then once you're all settled in, your Orchard agent helps sell your home on market for top dollar. Here's what one Orchard customer said. I never could have sold without Orchard. I made way more than I expected, and it couldn't have been easier. With Orchard, you never have to settle for less. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Curious how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com. Orchard.com.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer lets you easily compare direct rates from different insurance companies, so you can be confident you're getting the right one, even if it's not with Progressive. Way more confident than you were when you tried online gaming. Who knew 12-year-old boys could be so mean? And where did they learn to swear like that? 2 hours of losing to these underage trash talkers, and you're starting to question if maybe you really should stick to pickleball and other boomer stuff. So use Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer and be confident you're getting insurance that's right for you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
I saw her texting, coming up to a stop sign. And so I saw the accident coming, and she T-boned us.
In the blink of an eye, Crystal's life changed when she suffered a severe spinal injury.
The pain was something I had never experienced before in my neck. I got massage therapy. I saw a chiropractor. I was prescribed muscle relaxers so I could sleep. I got depressed. Nothing was relieving the pain.
Drugs, sleepless nights, and depression. Sound familiar? I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist. At Sound Pain Solutions, our treatments include high-dose laser combined with spinal decompression and other comprehensive therapies to rehabilitate damaged discs. We use treatments that are non-surgical, FDA-cleared, drug and pain-free.
I was able to get off my pain medicines, and I was able to sleep through the night, and that was what I was desperate for.
To learn if you're a candidate for our treatment, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-0025, or click soundpainsolutions.com.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/radio. That's leaffilter.com/radio.
Well, this week's First Mark Challenge victory goes to Brandy Cruz. Hey, Brandy, why? Why First Mark Insurance?
Service. I wondered for a second whether I was getting the VIP treatment, and I kind of asked, hey, is this what you do for everyone? And they're like, of course. The whole First Mark Challenge is meant to be personal, right? So it really is tailored and meant to be a personal experience for every single person. I will say I've just done whatever is the quickest and cheapest type of insurance, and I realized while I was doing it, wow, this is what it feels like to get insurance as a real adult. We had a million questions, and they walked us through every step of the process, and then they're working for you. So they're not working for insurance companies, they're working for you. To experience that level of service really shows you what the difference is with First Mark.
Brandy did it. My family did it. You got to do it. It's totally free. Take the First Mark Challenge. See how much money they can save you and how much better your coverage will get. Maybe you will be our next First Mark Challenge victory. Go to firstmarkinsurance.com.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Save up to 25% of remaining 2024 heat pumps and air conditioners during Home Comfort Alliance warehouse clearance while supplies last. Visit homecomfortalliance.com today.
Hey guys, it's Keith Dashafi from Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington, and we are not done celebrating 100 years of industry leadership. For a limited time, get $100 off every window, $100 off every door, or choose 60 months of 0% financing with no interest and equal payments. That's right, 100 years strong, and we're giving you more ways to save on the Pella difference. Schedule your free consultation today at PellaPNW.com. Thank you again for letting us serve you in the Northwest.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. It's the Jake and Spike Show. Jake Skorheim's on vacation this week. Laura and I are being joined by Greg Tomlin, filling in for the week. I mentioned before the break that something is coming to town that's been a very romanticized part of my youth. And I'm talking about the tall ship. America's tall ship's coming to town. It arrives today. This is the U.S. Coast Guard vessel, the Eagle, Coast Guard cutter Eagle. It's 100 yards, about 295 feet long. Tallest mast in the center. It's a three-masted clipper ship, the old full sails, the kind of thing from paintings. There's a picture of it, Laura. If you're on our YouTube channel right now, you can go to mynorthwest.com, or you can go to YouTube and type in KIRO Newsradio. Look for the Jake and Spike Show, and you see a photo of this. It's beautiful.
It's a spectacular vessel. I mean, it almost looks like something out of the Napoleonic Wars or something like that. It's almost 100 years old. Its origins date back to Hamburg, Germany in 1936.
This was literally made by Hitler's German Navy. And it was claimed by the U.S. as part of reparations for World War II.
Take that, Hitler.
And the U.S. brought it over here and was sent from Bremerhaven, Germany,
yep,
to a port in Connecticut where it was maintained and restored. And now it's been a training vessel for the Coast Guard.
I might go tour this thing. I'm a sucker for this kind of deal where the historical artifacts. I've had the privilege of going to Pearl Harbor a number of times, and you can tour a submarine called, I think, the USS Bowfin submarine over there, which is just spectacular. I mean, it's like stepping into a time machine for a moment in time. And mainly this vessel, like you said, is used for training purposes, but also kind of just PR, a floating goodwill ambassador for U.S. diplomatic relations. People such as John F. Kennedy, Richard Nixon, and Harry Truman have all set foot on it and stuff. It's pretty cool.
When I was a kid in Baltimore, which is a very old city, historic city, Star Spangled Banner written there. It's near and dear to my heart. In 1976, part of America's bicentennial. We're just a year away from the sesquicentennial, 250th anniversary of America. There was a parade of tall ships that came to the different harbors, different ports along the East Coast. And there were literally dozens of these tall, old naval historic cutters and schooners and clippers that toured these cities. And it's a sight to behold. And you literally step back in time on these things. And this will be, it arrives today. It'll be it'll be moored at Pier 66 on display and available for public tours, free public tours, tomorrow from 1 to 4. And on Thursday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then it will make its way as part of, I think it's a 7-city West Coast tour that the ship is on right now. It's going to go up to Vancouver next week if you can't make it down to the waterfront this week. There's a ship that is still moored in Baltimore's harbor called the Constellation. And it is a Navy frigate that has been completely restored. And when we were kids, my brother and I, we were, maybe 7 to about 13, 14. My folks worked in the downtown area, and we spent summers kind of running around the Baltimore Inner Harbor while my mom and dad both worked kind of in a retail job at a Radio Shack store. Summertimes, we'd be trucked downtown with mom and dad, and then we were left on our own devices to run around downtown Baltimore. And we used to tour this ship, my brother and I. They sold a commemorative coin made of brass that was fashioned from reclaimed metal from the restoration of the ship. You bought this lifetime coin. It was a free lifetime pass. So these people regretted selling my brother and I these coins. My folks knew this was a free babysitter every day of the summer. We spent literally hundreds of hours over the course of at least one particular summer on this ancient naval sailing ship.
No way.
It's an incredible thing to see and touch, and it's transportive.
It stimulates your imagination and so on and so forth. So, Laura, are you going to go check out America's Tall Ship?
Oh, definitely.
Really?
Yeah, well, no, I love sailing. Do you not know this about me, Greg?
I did not know this.
I actually used to volunteer on a tall ship down in California and climbed the mast, did the whole thing, had it under sail. It was amazing. It was such a cool experience.
5 officers and 100 sailors are stationed aboard this full time.
I might be convinced. I'll take the kiddos.
Boats are one thing. Sailors are down there. Lots of them. Laura, don't miss it. It's going to be, it's actually a beautiful thing. And even if you don't get a chance to go down and see it, and if you drive through, anywhere downtown, you can see the ship coming and going out of Elliott Bay and out of Puget Sound this week as it moves through. If you catch a glimpse of this, it's worth your time and trouble.
By the way, testament to German engineering.
It's a steel hull, 295-foot steel hull with 3 masts, wooden masts, 150 at the tallest mast. It is, it's a beautiful piece of history, not just American history. And it's worth your time and trouble if you get a chance to check it out. I highly recommend it. When we come back, a new law in Tennessee, that I got to say, this I completely agree with. And I'm not a guy, I don't agree with a lot of things that happen and often happen in red states. I think a lot of the laws are onerous and antiquated, but this one I'm all for. It's a law that's been adopted in Tennessee to punish teens for a trend, a habit, an action that I think is becoming far too common these days, which is bullying. And they've got a good idea to stop teen bullying in Tennessee, and we'll tell you about it when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
You listen to the John Curley Show every afternoon? What does John listen to every morning?
I listen to Charlie and Manda, get my pot of coffee going, then turn on Seattle's Morning News, and I begin to build my show that way. And you want straight news without opinion, just giving it to you with the facts. There's only one place to go, Seattle's Morning News.
The perfect bookends to your daily commute. Seattle's Morning News and the John Curley Show on KIRO News Radio. Download the KIRO Newsradio app to listen anytime.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The first place you turn to for breaking news.
Protest outside City Hall.
KIRO News Radio.
James Lynch begins our team coverage live at City Hall.
Now, we are told by SPD that 4 people have been arrested for assault. For more on the counter protesters, we go to Scott Carney.
See a group of another 10 officers come down the steps.
Closures now extended from Washington closer to the stadiums.
KIRO News Radio on 97.3 FM. And download the KIRO News Radio app to listen anytime.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Linwood Event Center. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Linwood Event Center. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Linwood Event Center. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Linwood Event Center. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Linwood Event Center. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Linwood Event Center. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Linwood Event Center. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Spike O'Neill here. Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens gave me back the perfect vision I had up until a few years ago. Now, never need glasses again. Never develop cataracts. Been about 6 months since my RLE surgery. My vision is better than it's ever been in my life. Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens, privately owned, no corporate shareholders or boardrooms. Dr. Sharp built his business on the principle of always strive to overaccomplish, never overprice. Call 425-451-2020 or go online to sharp-vision.com. That's sharp-vision.com. Official eye care providers of Sounders FC.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio. KIRO FM and HD1. Tacoma, Seattle. Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Cammie McCormick. The search continues for victims of the Texas floods. Governor Greg Abbott says at least 161 people are still missing.
Know this, we will not stop
until every missing person is accounted for.
Local officials fielded questions about who was responsible for monitoring the weather.
Should be able to recovery. Who was in charge of the emergency operations center at the time that was getting any brief?
Do we have another question?
President Trump says he will travel there, as Linda Kenyon reports.
The president made the announcement at a cabinet meeting.
I'll be going down on Friday with First Lady.
He also reflected on the search and rescue operations.
There's a lot of helicopters up there, but they were real pros, and they were responsible for pulling out a lot of people.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said FEMA has been helping with the state-run operations.
We were able to get them resources and dollars right away, just like you envisioned.
Calling the flooding tragic. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
Trump is insisting his August 1st deadline for dozens of countries to reach a trade deal hasn't shifted.
We don't change very much. Every time we put out a statement, they say, "You made a change." I didn't make a change. A clarification, maybe. No, August 1st they pay.
The Supreme Court today cleared the way for President Trump to downsize the federal workforce. A lower court had put a freeze in place. You can keep your shoes on at many airport security checkpoints now.
The TSA agent was really happy because she said, "Oh, you don't have to take off your shoes."
I was watching others go through the screening and they didn't take their shoes off, and I was like, yes, finally.
The security screening mandate was put in place almost 20 years ago after the shoe bomber Richard Reed attempted to take down a flight from Paris to Miami. Sean Diddy Combs will be sentenced in October, as Matt Piper reports.
Probation officials rejected both sides' plan to move the date up by about a week and a half. No arguments were presented in the afternoon hearing, which lasted about 2 minutes. Prosecutors want Combs behind bars up to 5 years, while his defense says it wants less than the recommended 21 to 27 months.
He was convicted of prostitution-related offenses. Sanitation workers in Philadelphia have been on strike for more than a week now, and the trash is overflowing at drop-off locations around the city. Residents are just hoping for an end to it all.
The mayor, whoever's responsible for this, pay these people. I mean, pay them what they need and let them do their job.
On Wall Street, investors have been closely following the trade news. Stocks finished mixed. The Dow Jones Industrials were off 165 points. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. We offer auto, home, and commercial auto insurance, plus a variety of business insurance options. Visit Progressive.com today.
Coming up, a troubling trend of car thieves getting away with guns. But first, we go to the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk. This support brought to you by Bucky's Complete Auto Care. Road work slowing you down in a few spots, including on I-5 southbound approaching the Fife Curve. This is right near Porter Way. That's also why you're slow on SR-18 approaching I-5. A little bit of volume and construction also slowing you down on 167, mainly between Auburn and Puyallup. Looking at a, 45-minute drive right now from Renton to Puyallup. 45 to 50 minutes up north into Everett. Nothing major slowing you down there from Seattle or Bellevue. Bellevue to Renton, about a 30-minute drive. And Linwood to Seattle, just those typical slowdowns right around the U District, but an average 40-minute drive for this time of day. Planning a road trip? Plan to visit to Bucky's Complete Auto Repair for oil changes, brakes, AC repair, and factory maintenance. No appointment needed and financing is available. Visit Bucky's.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. More and more thieves across King County are breaking into cars and stealing guns. KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey reports it's a growing threat, and it has law enforcement on high alert.
Prosecuting attorney spokesperson Casey McNerthney says most of the cars and trucks targeted have something in common.
So if you have a sticker that says, anything about the Second Amendment, that's often something that some car prowlers will look at and go, oh, great, maybe I'll get something here.
Prosecutors say not only are gun thefts increasing, but so are secondary crimes like shootings, assaults, even murder cases involving those stolen weapons. Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
Seattle's asking a federal judge to end oversight of its police departments. Mayor Bruce Harrell says the city has improved officer accountability and reduced use of force. Court still needs to approve SPD's new crowd control plan before that consent decree is lifted. The Tacoma School District's budget just took another hit. The state says it will not fund part of its transportation safety nets. That's money that helps get homeless students to and from school. Superintendent Dr. Joshua Garcia.
And the state has removed the funding of that requirement for
all school districts in the state of Washington.
News Tribune reports that is $750,000 the district has to cover. It was already facing a $40 million deficit this past school year. Scientists are monitoring a flurry of small earthquakes beneath Mount Rainier. They have recorded more than 400 since early this morning, the strongest measured at just a 1.7 magnitude. Experts say the activity is likely not due to any volcanic unrest. And change your plans if you had tickets to see Heart at the Gorge Amphitheater. The iconic Seattle rock band has canceled its August 8th show at the Gorge. Instead, Heart is coming home to play Climate Pledge Arena. Tickets for that November 23rd show go on sale this Friday. If you had tickets for the Gorge show, you will get your money back. Weather forecast now brought to you by State Roofing and Exterior. Sunny skies today, and then a bit of a cool down for tomorrow. We'll see cloudy skies and just some light rain at times, mainly in the North Sound for tomorrow. Right now, 81 and sunny in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO Newsradio App. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News. It's the all-new Jake and Spike Show on KIRO News Radio.
All right, Aaron Granillo. Welcome back, everybody, by the way. Greg Tomlin's in for Jake Skorheim. Aaron Granillo.
Yeah.
It's not a Mariner question.
Okay.
Where would you prefer to see a concert? You mentioned that Heart had canceled its show at the Gorge Amphitheater in George, Washington to reschedule a show at Climate Pledge?
Climate Pledge.
Right? Yeah, I want to make sure I get the adequate sponsored naming rights correct. They've bought a lot of money in there. They deserve it. Cheap Trick, by the way, the opener for that November show.
Oh, okay.
At Climate Pledge.
Yeah.
Where would you rather see a show? At the Gorge or the Climate Pledge?
The Gorge. I've seen two shows at the Gorge back in high school at the late, great Sasquatch Music Festival.
Sasquatch
with Throwback.
Festival?
Oh, yeah.
I went to the first ever Sasquatch Festival. Coldplay was the headliner back in the day.
I saw Matisse Yahoo there, random. And then my other show, I saw the Red Hot Chili Peppers last year at the Gorge. And that was my first time camping out at the Gorge. Great experience, and the sound system there is fantastic.
Yeah, they wasted no expense. They spared no expense. Spared no expense.
I've seen maybe I think one concert at Climate Pledge. I saw Alicia Keys actually.
Great,
and she was fantastic. But yeah, at the outdoor setting in the summer at the Gorge.
There is no better venue in the world.
Hard to beat.
Here's a question for you.
Okay,
and it might split our audience and split you too. Would you rather be farther away from the band, but there be a phenomenal sound system there, just crystal clear, beautiful, wonderful, or would you rather be closer in proximity to the band, but have, the sound setup isn't so great, doesn't sound so wonderful?
I think I'd rather be closer.
I can almost touch the boss.
Yeah.
I can almost touch him with my bare hands.
It's funny because when I was a kid, concerts were everything for my brother and I and our group of friends. I've been to literally 600 concerts over my life. Some of I paid for. A lot of them came through radio.
Yeah, sure.
There's something about watching the band interact. The interpersonal chemistries, the subtext. I saw at the Gorge, by the way, the Police did a reunion tour. I was a big Police fan as a kid. Nice. The Police did a reunion tour. I think it was in 2008 or something like that at the Gorge. And my friend and I got second row tickets. And the fighting between those guys on stage during that, because they could not stand each other. But that was more entertaining than the music. Watching, Andy Summers, a guitar player, start a song in a completely different key and staying looking at him like, what? And literally you could hear him, what the are you doing? And stopping in the song and starting the song. I mean, it was, and when the show ended, you watched three guys get on three different buses and leave the Gorge Amphitheater.
Wow.
I wish I could have seen the Ramones at the height of their power, because similar band dynamics would ensue,
guys
where they
get
in fist fights on stage. Yeah. Sometimes they'd end a show early, constantly cussing each other out. But it's that energy and attitude that came out in every note of their music. And they were here for far too short of a time. The last concert I was at was Climate Pledge, Simple Minds, the Don't You Forget About Me band, right?
For an audience who was starting to forget about them, because it's been 30, 40 years.
There's the play on words. But here's the thing about Climate Pledge, as much as I love it, and the sound system is wonderful, is my wife pointed this out to me last time, is if you're sitting in the stands, like 100, 200, 300 level, you're having to turn your whole body or your neck to see the band. And 2 hours in, you're like, I think this crank in my neck is going to be here for about the next 3 days, unless you're sitting on the floor.
Yeah,
but then off in case you're paying way more, and you might have a bit of an obstructed view with people sitting in front of you because it's not an elevated seating situation.
I will say that the sound at Climate Pledge is
good,
world class.
Yeah,
it's
very good.
If you ever go to a show there, you get a chance to go to a show there. Probably most of you have. Look up into the bafflings that were put into the eaves of the ceilings at Climate Pledge, and it's for the most perfect sound recreation or distribution through the venue.
I'll be seeing the Alabama Shakes there next month.
Nice.
I did splurge and got floor seats for that show.
There you go. And as we mentioned, Heart. We love the ladies and the guys of Heart. The band is its current configuration. Climate Pledge. It's in November.
It will be. Let me double check. Yes, November 23rd. Yes.
Tickets go on sale this Friday. Thank you very much, Aaron Granillo.
You know, I sang on stage with Heart.
What?
Shut.
Wait, whoa.
You always got to up
whoa.
everybody. You know, I sailed one. Didn't you have like dinner at the was it the Bolivian embassy? No, the
American embassy in Estonia.
Estonia,
Yes.
right?
What is this double life you're leading? You're sailing. You're on stage with Heart.
So hold on. I got to know more. How did you get on stage and sing with Heart?
Well, it's like way less interesting than it sounds. I was in a children's choir, and we did the oohs and ahs behind them when they performed at Benaroya alongside Alice in Chains as kind of a Seattle music scene retrospective, backed by the orchestra and the children's choir.
I was at that
in.
show.
No way.
I was at that.
I was on stage.
I was at that show. I had no idea that you and I would later in life become.
It's a full circle moment.
That is amazing.
No, I got to meet them backstage, and they were so lovely.
I got to back up the Dalai Lama.
Oh, okay.
I'm telling you,
Okay.
at Benaroya, he came to town. I'll have to look up what year it was, but literally, we were in a group invited behind to stand in the risers and the seats. It was the same place you guys were behind the Dalai Lama's. He gave a presentation, a speech, at Benaroya.
That might win.
It was pretty awesome.
The real question is, are you guys ready to bust out some 3-part harmony at some point this hour? Because it sounds like we all got the pipes. Let's go for it.
No. Hey, by the way, last break we mentioned that America's tallest ship, the Coast Guard cutter Eagle, is coming to town, be in town to go look. Did you know that a recent study by Gallup says that American pride is at not an all-time low, but the lowest... an all-time no. As long as Gallup has been asking people, how proud do you feel to be an American? And in 2025, there was a 23% drop in Americans saying 58% of Americans said they were either extremely proud or very proud. So 58% of Americans still feel extremely or very proud to be an American. That's a 23% drop in the last 10 years.
Here's what I want to ask you, Spike, and I've been waiting to ask you this all show. And there's no...
Yeah, it's real hair color. I'm really gray.
Right? All natural.
I don't dye it gray. It's really gray.
There's no covert agenda in this question. It's an honest, candid, something that I want to pose to you.
Sure.
Part of the reason for this plummet in American pride is Democrats are very discouraged that there's a Republican administration, particularly Donald Trump, who's the head of the executive branch. So get into the numbers here, okay? Well, listen to this.
I'm disappointed that's this Republican administration.
Sure.
Because I've been a fan of previous Republican administrations.
So right now, 36% of Democrats in 2025 say they're extremely or very proud to be an American. No surprise here, in 2025, 92% of Republicans are proud to be an American. But here is the stark contrast, okay? In the year 2015, this is under the Barack Obama administration, 80% of Democrats said they were extremely or very proud to be American. In 2015, 90% of Republicans were very proud to be an American. Okay,
wow.
So it seems to me that if these numbers are to be believed, that Republicans, no matter who is in office, is very proud to be an American, whereas Democrats, it shifts based upon who is winning elections. What do you think the discrepancy, the reason for that is, as someone who leans progressive? Why you're dyed-in-the-wool progressive.
Bleeding,
okay, there you go.
Libtard, snowflake,
I was
foot
trying to
soldier,
give you a little more moderate angle there, but yeah.
I'm proud of who I am. I'll own who I am.
But what do you make of that? And do you share those sentiments that you're less proud to be an American when a Republican wins and more proud when your guy or gal wins?
I would argue that it's this particular Republican administration. I'd love to see the numbers when President
George
Bush.
W. or...
Yeah.
Oh, he was hated pretty vociferously.
But after 9/11, I would say that Americans were very proud. He was a uniting president. He saw that America needed a leader, a unifier. And this president, for all his strengths or weaknesses is not a unifier in any way, shape, or form. He had a rally in Iowa. We may have the audio, but we need to play it. I'll paraphrase. I hate Democrats because they hate me, and Democrats hate America. I mean, I don't hate America. I don't. I love this country. You got to play from this.
All of the things we did with the tax cuts and rebuilding our military, not one Democrat voted for us. And I think we use it in the campaign that's coming up, the midterms, because we got to beat them. But all of the things that we've given, and they wouldn't vote only because they hate Trump. But I hate them too, you know that. So it's sort of I really do. I hate them. I cannot stand them because I really believe they hate our country. You want to know the truth?
And I would postulate that the Democrats hated cutting the Social Security or social support network in the way of SNAP benefits, in the way of Medicare, Medicaid, the funding of rural hospitals, all the things that are legitimately cited in this big, beautiful bill. That's what Democrats hate. To your question, I do not like this administration and its priorities. I do not like this administration and its lack of accountability.
Don't you think, though, that there is a tendency, and yes, it's a bit of a generalization, but sometimes we do that in society because generalizations are true, that Democrats tend to have an unhealthy focus on American guilt, and Republicans have a tendency to focus more on American gratitude and appreciation for the legacy of the country? I mean, look at academia, look at public radio, look at mainstream media that is overwhelmingly Democrat, and the sort of echo chamber or the chorus that gets repeated just ad nauseum is this notion of America as sort of uniquely guilty. And I think that's what sort of leads to a lesser amount of pride in what it means to be an American, is this fixation on where we've done bad things throughout our 250-year history. And you might come back and say, well, Republicans have an unhealthy focus on just the good. Maybe we need each other.
I would disagree with most everything you said there, only with regard to, you called it an unhealthy infatuation. What'd you call it?
Fixation.
Unhealthy fixation with the
American guilt.
American guilt. I think Democrats speak up about American guilt because the unpopular, uncomfortable elements of our history are being whitewashed and ignored. And I think it's important that we learn where we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Yeah. It's important that we learn where we come from. I don't think Democrats have an unhealthy infatuation with American guilt. I think they feel, I specifically feel, personally feel, you have to be honest. If you love your country, you'll be honest with who we are and where we came from and where we're going. I am embarrassed about some of the elements of our history. I don't hate our country. I don't hate our history. I'm not infatuated with American guilt, but America's got a lot to be guilty of and is still a great nation in spite of all the things that America has done, whether it's, a manifest destiny, which is at the expense of an already existing population, whether it's about the original sin of American slavery, that's being oftentimes trying to whitewash out because it makes children uncomfortable in various educational settings in various portions and belief sectors of the country. I love this country. I hate this administration because I love this country. Because I think that I honestly say that.
But again,
an administration that is bedrocked on the denial of the results of a free and fair election. I hate that about this administration.
But Gallup in their survey is not asking, are you proud to be an American under the Trump administration?
Well,
it's asking about being a citizen of the country.
Well, I
think it changes more with Democrats depending on if their person is in the highest office in the land. And Republicans go, you know what? I might dislike.
I don't care what's going on.
Well, 90% of Republicans were proud to be American under Obama. Republicans had no love lost for Obama. They did not like the guy in any way, shape, or form, yet still had a deep, abiding love for the nation. That contrast is still worth pointing out.
No, it is, and it's a very fair question to ask somebody who right now feels that I am not proud of the current Congress. I think they have subjugated themselves to the executive branch. I feel the same way about the judiciary, especially with regard to the Supreme Court, who is abdicating the co-equal branch, the checks and balance system that's kept us who we are for these nearly 250 years. I think there's an abdication of responsibility for the sake of political survival by both Congress in the Republican form and it's our judiciary with regard to the Supreme Court. I'm not proud of that at all. So is there a diminished sense of American pride right now for me as a Democrat? Yeah, I think it's safe to say that's the case. So to your point, yeah, I am still proud of the country. I'm proud to be an American, but right now I don't feel very proud of where we find ourselves in history.
What do you think on the text line, 888-973-5476? Gallup survey, American pride at near all-time lows. Are you proud to be an American? Does it change every so often, or do you take the big picture into context for better or worse? We want to know from you. Laura, do you think about this question often, and where do you fall on this?
What, on American pride specifically?
Mm-hmm. Oh. Like July 4th, are you the flag-waving, fireworks setting off gal out there? Or are you sort of sheepishly going along with the crowd and being like, oh, this is a little embarrassing how much pride there is out there for the American way of life and so on and so forth?
Well, no, I wouldn't call myself like a flag waver, but I do know that when Trump was reelected, I was pretty crushed. I was not excited. And my immediate thought was, I want to stick it out. I don't want to move. I love this country. I want us to figure it out. I want to stay around and stand up for a country that I love. I was a flag waving kid in the Edmonds 4th of July parade growing up.
That was you? No.
Yeah, me throwing candy at people.
Yeah. I don't like this administration, like I said earlier, because I love this country, because I love who we are, and I want our leaders to be a shining example of the American citizenry. And I don't think we're currently seeing that from our leader. We never got to those kids in Tennessee. Here's what's going on in Tennessee, by the way. As we shift gears. I appreciate you asking those questions. Those are valid questions to ask and answer. In Tennessee, if you are a teen bully, the state of Tennessee has decreed that you can lose your driver's license. That's the consequence that Tennessee legislation has passed for kids. Driver's license can be suspended for a year under a new anti-bullying law in Tennessee. What do you think about that? Because it's hard to police kids. And we've saw in this state, there was just a horrific lack of accountability for teen criminals in this state. And I think bullying is an incredibly dangerous and prolific offense.
Well, and bullying, though, it takes on various shapes and forms and has varying degrees, and some of it depends on how personal or how fragile a person is that gets bullied. So I don't know how you gauge how extreme the level of bullying is here. My one question about this is I ascribe to a way of parenting where you try to correlate a punishment to a child's actions. And there's a concept within this parenting class that my wife and I took a long time ago called Love and Logic, where you basically try to make the punishment fit the crime, and there's natural consequences. So say, for example, you have a kid who's not getting dressed before school, and it's always a struggle. We can't get our kid dressed before school.
Okay.
What's the consequence? Well, they might have to show up to school in their pajamas, right? And then that's the natural consequence. It's not we send you on a timeout for 2 hours and then you learn your lesson, because it's a natural consequence.
I see.
So
I see the logic of that.
Bullying correlated to a losing of the license. I'm not sure a kid is going to understand the correlative between the two there. I like the notion of there being some kind of punitive part of this, but I just don't know how they relate.
Well, I think when you look at how do you teach a teenager an important lesson, it's got to be consequence and loss of what they hold dear. Right. I mean, to your point about love and logic, correlative. Correlative. Thank you very much. I'm Love, Your Logic. That's a new name of this show for the rest of the week, by the way. If a bully, you can't bully the kid. You can't make the kid be put in maybe
taste of your own medicine.
Right. And I see the logic of that. It makes great sense. But you take away what the kid holds most dear. And for most teenagers, it is the ability to have the independence of a vehicle, of a driver's license. Because that's what made America just take off in the 50s was, the American automobile, the independent automobile. You were free to roam about the country or about town, or on a Friday night, go where you wanted to go, do what you want to do. That's why cars are such an important part of American culture. I love taking away the driver's license from a kid and to your point about bullying is hard to define. It's bullying physically, and cyberbullying also falls under this. And I'm sure that those judges, the judiciary in Tennessee, will look at it hopefully a case by case basis for the severity of the bullying itself, the consequences.
It's a tough one because I'm torn on this, because part of me, without bullies, we're living in this fragility world where you never have to face any kind of adversity, and it's your God-given right to just go through life uninhibited and, but there is a form of bullying that goes to such an extreme that I think needs to be addressed. But it's like, where and when do you draw that line?
Yeah, I'm not going to argue that oftentimes when a kid is bullied in a non-threatening nature, it often builds character, teaches kids
resilience, or stand up for yourself.
Exactly.
It teaches you to stand up for
there are
yourself.
Upsides to being
bullied. You don't
bullied.
need the long arm of the law to come in and be like, we'll take care of this for you.
I'm sure this extreme Tennessee law, passed 85-10, by the way, in Tennessee legislation, is for the worst case where bullying has gotten out of hand. Cyberbullying especially can be fatal these days. Kids can be cruel, especially teenage girls. I'm sorry. They don't call the movie Mean Girls for nothing. All right. It's the Jake and Spike Show with Greg Tomlin sitting in all week long. When we come back, we chewed on some tough subjects. The IRS says churches can now endorse candidates from the pulpit. Is that anything new? Hasn't this been going on for quite a while? We'll talk about that next.
This hour is brought to you by Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens.
Did you know that over the past 10 years, home values have increased the most during the first quarter of the year? So how much is your home worth right now? Check it out instantly at sellwithwest.com. Sure, there are other apps out there you can use, but most of them are national companies. If you want local expertise, someone who actually knows what's happening with the housing market in your neighborhood, there's no one more local than Wes Jones. If you're even thinking about making a move in 2025, go to sellwithwest.com, sellwithwest.com, and start by using their free home value calculator to see what your home is worth. It might be worth more than you think. You'll get so much more than just a number from Wes Jones. We're talking about recent sales in your neighborhood, the market temperature in your city, side-by-side comparisons of multiple online estimates. You can even calculate how much equity you have, and even a breakdown of how your home's value has changed over time. So here's what you have to do. Go to sellwithwest.com, type in your address, and bam, you'll have instant access to all of this and more. It's fast, easy, it's local. Sellwithwest.com, a better way to sell your home.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing, must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business. Powering possibilities.
Now through July 21st, new Comcast Business customers can find out how to get started with 150 megabit internet and Security Edge for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card for your business. Call and switch to Comcast Business today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Early termination fee applies.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty, so you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/radio. That's leaffilter.com/radio.
When the heat's an 11,
Cool AC would be heaven.
dayandnight.net. Some AC you'll be loving.
When your house is an oven.
Dayandnight.net.
Northwest summers are beautiful, but there's always a long hot stretch that makes everyone say, man, AC sure would be nice. Well, except for that one annoying friend who won't stop talking about how great his AC is. Hi, I'm Bruce with Day and Night Plumbing and Heating. Don't sweat through another summer. Have Day and Night keep your house cool and comfortable by installing a high-efficiency AC or heat pump. Or if you have an existing system, we'll come and service it. Make sure it's running efficiently and ready to cool when you need it.
When the summer is cooking,
We're the place to be looking.
dayandnight.net. Stay cool this summer with Day and Night. Call now to get 10% off an air conditioner or heat pump. Plus, no payments or interest for a year OAC. Restrictions apply. Call for details. Dayandnight.net.
Worried about your aging parents' bathroom? You can convert that old tub into a walk-in shower with Bathfitter. Custom fit, installed in just one day with 0% interest for 24 months. Call Bathfitter now or visit bathfitternw.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. 161 people are still missing in Kerr County, Texas, where officials now say hope is fading that they'll find any more survivors of flash floods.
We will not stop until every missing person is accounted for.
That is Texas Governor Greg Abbott. He says the death toll from Friday's floods has now risen to at least 110. A northern Idaho firefighter injured in an ambush attack that killed two of his colleagues is on the road to recovery. KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey has details.
A single shotgun blast collapsed firefighter Dave Tisdall's lung, broke his collarbone and several ribs. What he did next, lying on the ground, an active shooter still taking aim, Coeur d'Alene Fire Captain Nate Hyder tells KREM TV was heroic.
Dave was able to alert Battalion 5 to get down and get out of the line of fire. Dave's actions saved a lot of lives that day.
Tisdall remains hospitalized and can't yet move below the chest. Deputies say the shooter, 20-year-old Wes Raleigh, died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
Boeing's jet production is up. CBS's Jason Brooks reports the company delivered more planes in June than it has in a year and a half.
Boeing announced it delivered 60 planes last month, dominated by 737 MAX orders to Alaska, Southwest, and United Airlines. The aerospace company is ramping up production of the 737 MAX following a year racked with maintenance and quality control issues sparked by the mid-air door plug blowout on an Alaska Airlines 737 MAX in January 2024. Boeing is seeking FAA approval to lift a production cap on the 737 MAX from its current limit of 38 per month.
It's the swan song for Little Red Hen. The beloved country music bar in Seattle is set to close for good at the end of this month. General Manager Kyle Snodgrass.
We showed up June 27th, and there was a notice on our window that said we were being evicted July 31st.
He says this all boils down to a lease disagreement. The owner hopes it can be settled and the bar can stay open. Now to the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk at 2:33. This report brought to you by Lake Washington Windows and Doors. Starting in Seattle on I-5 northbound, the off-ramp to Columbian Way, disabled vehicle partially blocking the ramp. Not really slowing you down on the main drag there on I-5, but just be aware. Also on 405 northbound, the off-ramp to Northeast 85th in Kirkland, disabled vehicle partially blocking that ramp. We are seeing some slowdowns right now on 405 into the Linwood and then on to Bellevue. We're looking at about an hour-long drive now from Bellevue to Everett, about a 55-minute drive from Seattle to Everett. Heading southbound on I-5, that is a 42-minute trip from Linwood to Seattle. Looking at the 167 trip down the Valley Freeway, it does slow a bit right as you reach Auburn, heading down into Sumner. Looking at about a 45-minute drive right now from Renton to Puyallup. And Tacoma to Olympia, you got those usual slowdowns right around JBLM. Rest of the map, pretty much average for this time of day. Upgrade your view with Lake Washington Windows and Doors. Buy one window or door. Get the second at 50% off through July. Visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com for details. Weather update now brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. We are dry today and all sunny skies. Tomorrow, clouds roll through for a one-off with some drizzle tomorrow and then drying out for the rest of the week. Right now, 81, sunny in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Welcome back to the show. It's the Jake and Spike Show. Greg Tomlin's in for Jake Skorheim this week. We always appreciate your input to the show. Our text line is 888-973-5476. We'd like to have your take on the things we've covered in today's show. Is a 30-day jail sentence for the Belltown Hellcat a slap on the wrist? Is it enough of a punishment to stop this guy from doing the kind of internet posting that's made the city just live in, not fear, but hating this guy? Annoyance, yeah. You want those 8-foot-tall, 3-foot-wide touchscreen kiosks downtown for the FIFA World Cup next year. Lots of stuff we've talked about today. We'd love your opinion. Is it time to move on from the Epstein files? Or do you want to really know? Is there nothing to see here from the Trump administration? Enough. We'd love to hear your take on all this stuff. We mentioned before the break that a ruling from the IRS has said, for the first time literally saying it, that churches are now free to endorse political candidates to their congregations from the pulpit.
And maybe this is just providing a little more clarity on this issue, because I don't think it's just my imagination that I've seen a lot of politicians visit churches and even advocate for electing certain people. I think I've seen Kamala Harris in churches, Biden. You see conservatives in churches in Texas, and then there's that conversation about tax-exempt status when something appears very nakedly political, and this just seems to be more formalizing what has already been taking place. But we're probably going to see more of it now, wouldn't you think, Spike? And more blatant and explicit endorsements.
Well, here's one of the concerns. This is expressed by a professor at the Loyola School of Law in Los Angeles, saying that the problem is that these permission to campaign basically from the pulpit and endorsing a candidate to the congregation won't just stay in the congregation, because everybody has a website now. Do candidate endorsements on a church's website, is that now an internet ad for a campaign for a candidate, for a political ideology or movement? That it's because it's going to spread beyond the confines of whatever church or other religious organization meeting that this is allowed at. It's the first time, as you mentioned, first time it's formally been said that statements made from the pulpit weren't just tolerated, but they're explicitly now legal.
I look at this issue from a perspective of someone who attends church weekly. And I've long thought that the more churches become nakedly political, the more it hurts the church in the U.S. I think the more religion becomes prone to the rise and fall of a given political party or personality in the country. There's a great quote from Alexis de Tocqueville, who was a French political philosopher who wrote Of Democracy in America in the 19th century. And I know people don't talk like this anymore, but the point rings so true to me. And he says, when religion clings to the interests of this world, it becomes almost as fragile a thing as the powers of earth. And I'm going to paraphrase
Please,
here.
I caught none of that.
Yeah, okay. The alliance that religion contracts with political powers is harmful to itself, since it doesn't require its assistance to live, and by giving it political powers, its assistance may be exposed to decay. In other words, like, you're going to see more shifting in the church of rising and falling in a very quick manner, because political movements, political people kind of come and go on the scene. So the more institutions of faith are aligned with political movements, the more they will have the quick rises and falls.
What would you say?
Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I don't know if I agree with that, because what about political movements? You said not just political candidates, but political movements. And I think back to the civil rights movement, how instrumental the church was. Was it the pews to polls?
Oh, yeah.
Was it right?
The Reverend Dr. King.
Right. Yeah. And that kind of civil, not just civil rights, but a social movement, which was started and championed and moved through the religious communities
to a large
of the
degree.
South. Yeah.
Absolutely.
To the point that this now explicitly legal, says the IRS. I think it's always been the case, that you said. Congregations have commonality in purpose and morality and all these things.
Absolutely.
And oftentimes that's whether it's a pro-life congregation and belief system, or a pro-civil rights congregation and equality, an inclusive congregation and belief system with LGBTQ plus rights, those kind of things, those kind of movements are supported by and nurtured by and
well, and what is politics, right? It's a way to advance values and make change, right? In a society, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Or to gain control. A lot of times.
But I'm just saying from a personal perspective, if I'm in a church and someone says we need to vote for this person, my alarm bells start ringing and I start thinking I need to get out of this church, whether it's right or left.
Really?
I much prefer a message, and again, this is a slight tangent, but it is related, of a church telling its congregants, here's what the word says. Here's how we interpret it. Now go act accordingly in your lives, in your relationships, at work, in politics, absolutely. But also if you're an accountant, if you're a doctor, and so on and so forth, to the best of your ability, interpret how to live faithfully to this word in the various spheres and sectors of life, and not demanding, okay, we're going to marry our cause as a church to this given cause at the moment. I think that's potentially a slippery slope that can do more harm than good. And at the same time, I grant your point, absolutely, that even in the freeing of the slaves in the 19th century, I mean, the slaves were singing hymns and stuff. And so it was a religious abolitionist movement that helped kind of move us past slavery. And so there is a crossover there. And at the same time, I'm skeptical and I sort of proceed with caution. And I don't like marrying the two together. I think that could be potentially dangerous for the church.
Well, I think they've been living together in sin for the longest of times.
Okay,
and now we got the paperwork to say that it's legal, not just tolerated, right? I mean, for example, I go to church weekly as well. WEAKLY, very weekly, not as much as I should. I don't know much about the teachings of Christ other than what I've seen in TV and movies. I'm being facetious a bit, but to feed the hungry, to care for those in need, to welcome the neighbor as you would your own, right? Though, if you were in a congregation that says this Trump administration, which is cutting the social safety net and not helping the sick, not helping the poor, we should campaign against those from the pulpit. I mean, that's going to be legal now, not just tolerated. So this IRS dictate that is now legal to campaign from the pulpit, it's going to cut both ways.
I think it's going to hurt the church in the long term, but we'll see.
Even if the political, you said a political movement is in complete alignment with the church's beliefs and tenets, you think it would hurt the church? I respect if you feel that way, and you're probably spot on. You go more often than I do. You know how it works in there.
Right. Like we stated, I think there's some crossover, but when you get into specifics of, now here's how to implement this, I think you get into a dangerous territory of aligning yourself too closely with a party or a personality, and that's where it's problematic.
And we haven't even got into the tax exempt status of all this. That's one of the main arguments against campaigning from the pulpit.
Well, yeah, and you brought up the feed the hungry, feed the sick, and so on and so on. But the broader question is then, well, there's differing views there, and that is, should the government be the main vehicle to do those things, or should it be on the person and the individual
the charity
and the
church.
neighborhood and the private thing?
Well,
and so then honest people can have good faith discussions.
There you go. Well, we'd love to hear your take on things. We'll give you the best of the text messages that have been flooding into the show today on a number of topics when we come back.
KIRO Newsradio, the Northwest's trusted news source.
Get the latest from KIRO Newsradio's James Lynch.
It happened Wednesday morning just after 6 o'clock.
Experienced voices you trust.
Several people hurt after a violent Saturday in Pierce County.
Coverage you depend on.
More from KIRO Newsradio's Matt Markovich.
It's as close to a veto warning as you could possibly get.
KIRO Newsradio. We're on YouTube, our app, your smart speaker, and 97.3 FM.
Hey, I want to tell you a sellwithwes.com success story. Wes Jones knows how important your home sale can be for your future plans. So when he got a call from Susan in Federal Way, he was eager to step up and help her sell her home of 25 years.
Her house was her biggest asset, and this home sale was super meaningful for her. So she's like, I know that I'm leaving money on the table in the condition that it's in. Like, what can we do?
I told him up front that I did not have the time or
your finances to do what needed to be done. And he immediately jumped in with, well, I do.
He told her about their Listing Boost concierge service.
We identified probably 4 or 5 major things.
It just was all so fast. They did everything.
I'm a son of a builder, and I've done a lot of flips over the years. So this is work that we actually like to do. We are seeking this out.
And I would just tell anybody, here's his phone number, give him a call. He'll take care of it.
So if you're in the market to sell your home, do what Susan did. Check out Wes Jones and his team at sellwithwes.com. Sell with Wes, a better way to sell your home.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
We all know a cancer diagnosis is physically and emotionally draining, but it can also be a financial hardship. That's why Northwest Hope and Healing is here to help. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda, a plastic surgeon who is proud to be part of Northwest Hope and Healing's mission. We provide a lifeline for breast and gynecologic cancer patients. We cover essentials like food, utilities, and childcare, so patients can focus on healing. This year, we are proud to celebrate 25 years of Northwest Hope and Healing. Since the year 2000, we have distributed over $2.8 million in direct financial assistance to thousands of local cancer patients. And you can help us make a difference. Mark your calendar for Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 17th at the Columbia Collective in Woodinville. It's an unforgettable afternoon of unwavering hope and inspiration. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 17th. Go to nwhopeandhealing.org to learn more. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
Well, here in our region, it's really common for homes to have damaged insulation or even no insulation at all in their crawl space or attic. Well, in the winter, that'll make your home cold and drafty. And in the summer months, it can turn your home into an oven. It's Mike Salk here, and utility companies have special incentives right now to help with the cost of having your home properly insulated, including a once-in-a-lifetime rebate from Puget Sound Energy. So if you're a PSE customer and your home was built before 1990, you could qualify to receive a rebate on up to 95% of the cost to properly insulate your crawl space and attic. Yes, they will cover up to 95% of the cost. And if you're anything like me, you love the idea of somebody else paying to improve your home, add value to it, and save you money along the way. How good does that sound? Don't wait. Call Crawl Pros to learn what's going on behind that crawl space and attic hatch for free, and then what energy rebates you're eligible for. If you're worried about critters, mold, water damage, insulation issues, or anything else related to your crawl space or attic, schedule a free corner-to-corner inspection at crawlpros.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Experience the thrill of seeing orcas and humpback whales with Puget Sound Express. Join their family-run tours for guaranteed whale sightings, departing daily from Edmonds. These are Seattle's most popular and well-reviewed whale tours. Book now at PugetSoundExpress.com.
And now, tales of another way. You're packing for a trip. Stuffing clothes in a suitcase works mostly. But such chaos in your carry-on. Then you try packing cubes. Organization? Meet harmony. Sometimes another way is the better way. Like the new SR 509 Expressway, the alternate route that'll help manage congestion on I-5 and other local roads, plus provide better access to the ports. It's open now. Try it free through summer. Learn more at goodtogo509.com.
I like this, Andrew. It's almost got a ZZ Top-esque quality, right?
I'm sorry, what's it? What?
It's got like a ZZ Top kind of esque.
Yeah, it's a band, or I don't know if it's a band or an artist called Big Data.
Big Data? I'm afraid of Big Data. All right, thank you, my friend. Okay, it's time now to check the text messages you sent in from today's show. We appreciate that. And I forgot we even covered this story about the over at Washington State University. Somebody has. I'm not going to say it's students. Somebody's been poking these bears with sticks. And my suggestion is just unlock the cages, because I think one time would cure that from happening again. Isabella says, how ironic for them to say if you hurt a research bear, it's illegal. Research bears are by definition hurt every day. What a loving take on life.
On the story of the violent end to street takeovers that ended up seeing someone admitted to Harborview, I believe. Sean in Arlington writes, I predict drone interventions happening at racing takeover events involving super glue and RFID tags.
That new technology the police have where they can shoot like a tracker at your car.
Yeah.
Those things should be everywhere.
Well, and Cletus in Federal Way says, imagine a single police spike strip being tossed into any of these intersections. A spike strip and impounding a couple cars every weekend would end these quickly.
That I like. We talked a little bit about Tennessee's new law about taking a license from a bullying teenager. I think losing your car, if you're a street racer, you know, that's consequence. That has some results there.
Commensurate.
Yes.
Ed in Kent, it sounds good for radio talking about fines and punishment for street racing. The simple fact is there's not enough police to even consider doing those things. Point well taken, Ed.
Amen.
On touchscreen kiosks in downtown Seattle, Joey says, can't people just use their cell phones for information?
Interesting.
Yeah, what about
take.
an app? Maybe.
As opposed to 30 signs, 8 foot tall, 3 foot wide. Yeah. Tamara in Tacoma says, are they trying to make us like Tokyo? Futuristic and all?
I've never been to Tokyo, have you?
I haven't been to
Tokyo. Do touchscreens abound? Maybe they do. From the 206, those kiosks would be defected and broken in a matter of a couple days. Really stupid idea.
Is it defected or defecated? That
could be both.
Both could bear true. Katie in Tacoma says they're immediately going to get defaced. I think we all agree on that. But it would be cool if it included the inventory of local e-bike rentals on the way to your destination as a mode of transportation. See, there's some upsides to all this.
And Jim in the 36 says, do you guys remember the $1 million toilets?
I have one at home.
On the topic of the new rule that you can keep your shoes on during TSA screenings now, Ed in Kent writes, shoes were all for show, for public imaging to make people feel like they were doing something to keep people safe. No real safety issues, society ruled by emotion.
206 says the shoe bomber, well, shoes had to come off. The underwear bomber, now that would have been interesting.
Thank goodness they didn't do that. Erica M says it's about time they changed their position on shoes. Really, it's all performative anyway. You should have seen them freak out when I explained how easy it was to make a 4-inch blade out of the tin can they served my soda in.
Oh my.
I can only imagine how that conversation went, Erica.
All right, on the topic of the Epstein list or lack thereof, Dave says, you know, it's Trump's name that was on that list. The Democrats would have released it.
A lot of people think that way. Doug in Mount Vernon says, Trump is canceling aluminum tariffs because the tin hat supporters are complaining. Oh, boy.
Fred in Olympia says, is it as obvious to you as it is to me that Pam Bondi was just ordered by somebody to destroy that list? If so, can't we do something about this? It just seems so obvious. Most Americans are idiots, but not every American is stupid.
I'm just saying, if Trump's AG has access to any and all information on Epstein, so did Biden's AG, and so it goes both ways here. Matthew in Tacoma says, give it up, boys. We've never been told the honest truth from either party. Well, there's a cynical take.
425 says, put the Epstein case to rest. Just move on. This is pedophilia, sex with children. This should be investigated until there is no doubt whatsoever. And that's a take I believe in.
On Trump's baby bucks, Rick and Olympia says you're not going to improve society with a 1K check. Yes, like this infuriates me. It doesn't even scratch the surface of solving underlying issues.
And on the topic of American pride being at or near all-time lows, 206 says Democrats are stuck in survivor guilt. They only see the best in everywhere else and the worst here.
I, as a Democrat, would disagree, Rick, but or it's going to be 206, but I respect your opinion. Rick says, I love what America used to stand for. This is the only administration, Democrat or Republican, that has made me question this. There's nothing wrong with acknowledging our mistakes and trying to fix them and improving the United States.
Tom in Bothell says, love my country, fear my government.
Well, that's something we can all agree on.
9 scariest words in the English language.
I'm the government and I'm here to help.
I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Thank you, Ronald Reagan. Okay, we are done for the day. We will be back tomorrow. Thank you very much, Greg, Laura, of course. And Greg, John Curley is in next, so don't go anywhere.
Eric Johnson here. I spent the past 30 years working to help make our community better informed, better protected when it comes to consumer issues, and better equipped to take on whatever life throws at us. That's why I love the free Washington Accident book series from Davis Law Group. These books keep us better informed about the law, better able to protect ourselves on and off the road, and better off when all is said and done after an accident. Chris Davis didn't have to write these books. He did it because he saw a need. People who were in accidents or other legal situations didn't know what to do, what pictures to take, documents to request. Only a tiny fraction of the people who get these free books will ever become clients of Davis Law Group, but that's not the point. Chris wrote them because it was the right thing to do. The free Washington Accident book series is a must-have for drivers who want to be prepared for whatever the road might throw at them. Get yours at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Was drafted in 1999 by the Philadelphia 76ers, and that was just absolutely a dream come true.
Todd's playing in the NBA is unique. His battle with neuropathy is not.
I first started noticing problems a couple of years into my NBA career, and I felt like my sock was just balled up right in the arch of my foot, and there'd be areas of burning and tingling.